All right, guys. Hello and welcome back to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. We are here for the live watch along of Elimination. We've done our build-up show, and we are just 4 minutes away from the PA.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
All right, yeah, once again, welcome back to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. We are here to watch along with Elimination Chamber. Guys, thank you so much for kind of joining me here today and having me as part of your, as we mentioned earlier on the build-up show, I guess your three-man booth, right? I'm going to be your third guy. I don't even know who the commentators are. I'm guessing it's Corey Graves and Michael Cole, but the most important thing is Scott from Rebellious Noise, right? So we are going to watch the show together. Let us know what you think is going to happen on the PLE, guys. We want to hear your comments and your thoughts on the show overall. Again, as I mentioned on the build-up show, it's a bit of a strange PLE in the sense that it kind of gets lost in the shuffle before WrestleMania Elimination Chamber, but even more so this year. It felt like it was going to be a huge show, being that it's in a stadium, it's an international show, but then, I don't know, it's not really felt that way, right? Until kind of the last week or so, we haven't had much of a build. And this annoys me, by the way, guys. We're still on the kickoff show at the moment. Them in the studio drives me mad. It drives me mad because they have staff at the stadium, just set up at the stadium. Like, it annoys me to do this. I understand this is something they started doing during the pandemic era. Maybe it's a cost cutting thing. I don't know, but there should be at least like some sort of on-site reporter or something like that. You know, it drives me mad. I know they still do it for Mania, but man, you've got a stadium. Like, get the most out of it. You know, like, you've hired the space anyway. Like, get the most out of being there. But anyway, they are currently previewing the men's chamber match. And guys, I think it's got to be Drew McIntyre, right? It's got to be Drew. He's been on fire lately. And I do think it's interesting looking at the whole CM Punk situation, what would have happened there. But either way, he's kind of been on this upward trajectory, in my opinion, as far as being a heel. And he's really kind of took advantage of the situation with Punk. And I think that's what you want to do. That's the best case scenario. If someone goes down injured, make something of it. Okay, so we now got some traditional music and dance on the stage from the Aboriginals. Pretty cool. This would be cool. Very exciting to see an Australian PLE. Let's see how they go about it. There we go. Okay, now we've got, maybe it's just the color of the seats and that, but it looks empty. We watched on a build-up show. It looked quite busy down below, but second and third tier was struggling. It looks like it still is. Let's see how we go. But the show's just about to start. We've got the WWE graphic come up now for the network. And we're heading into Elimination Chamber. Thank you guys for joining us here on the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Okay, we've got the signature. It's going to be an interesting show. I mean, I don't know how long this is going to last. You know, I always think roughly these days PLEs are, 4 hours? So we'll be hitting you with an instant reaction after either way. But it'd be interesting to see how they time and pace this show. Fantastic scene there. Look at that, right by the river. Now, it looks better there. That doesn't even look the same. It looked like they were using an old shot where it was empty earlier on. Rhea Ripley getting off the bus. Amazing, amazing moment for her. Well and truly deserved. There's no way that Nia Jax's leaving with a title right now. They show Becky Lynch as well. And Bianca Belair. That's an interesting shot there as well, because she's a big star. She's been talking about how she's not going to be losing at WrestleMania. She's got a streak going on, but surely she's going towards Jay Cargill. And Kevin Owens arrives with a koala bear. Randy Orton as well. This is the kind of PLE where you see Randy having a title match. You know, those kind of in the middle on the road to WrestleMania type situations, but there's no men's title match at all. What are we opening with? Chambers coming down. So as you might expect, spread out the Chambers. The women's one first. Okay. There was, in my opinion, a good opportunity to make this a headline. Dan was saying the other day that maybe it should be Rhea, being that, you know, she is Rhea in Australia. And I just think that's not a strong enough main event. At the moment, Rhea versus Nia is not a strong enough main event. So I thought the other way around it, to get Rhea kind of looking strong at the end of the PLE, which I think is a good call, is to kind of have that match already, and then she comes out and kind of faces her challenger head to head as the screen fades to black, so to speak. But not going to be the case. Okay. And I think both of these chamber matches are quite stacked, but still very predictable. But the thing is, Chamber used to be a really exciting PLE in the sense that there usually were these little twists quite often. You know, think about the time that Edge came in with a title and left with a different title. Probably the best example, really. But yeah, you'd get these kind of, I remember the Shawn Michaels Undertaker storyline where he wanted that second match. And he kind of sneaks out from underneath the chamber. So it does have the potential to kind of shake things up. But I think what we all expect to happen at Mania is what's going to happen, right? We're going to get Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. We're going to get Cody versus Roman. And probably going to get Drew versus Seth Rollins. So continuing here with a promo package as well. Exciting matches ahead, I hope. Big kind of feature Rhea Ripley at the end of that promo package. And I do hope this lives up to, I don't want to say the hype because it hasn't been hyped very well. The hype of having a PLE in another country, I hope it lives up to that. It looks huge. Again, for the Australian fans, I just hope they get something good. Hope we all do, watching it from afar as well. Don't get me wrong. But if this isn't a good show, I think it will make a lot of international fans think there's no need to go to their shows, right? It won't, if this doesn't feel like a stadium show, like as in it's worthy of it, then I think it will do, potentially could do some damage for WWE going forward. Huge cheer for Grayson Waller. in his Australian cricket shirt. Seth Rollins has got a third lens on his glasses, always handy. You never know when your forehead's going to grow an eye. I like all this. Like lately, the production has changed, of course, with the switch out from Kevin Dunne. But yeah, I like all these kind of backstage shots they've been doing lately. All right, Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and Scott from Rebellious Noise, of course. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Really do hope you're going to stick with us and enjoy the stream together. If you're watching this in the future, maybe 10 years from now, and you just kind of reminiscing on Elimination Chamber, welcome to you as well. All right, again, we've got the first match going to be the women's #1 contendership. All right, so here is all the hype. Let's see if it delivers. We've got Bianca Belair coming out first. Who is in an interesting position. I mean, pretty much been in all the big storylines going into Mania in the past few years, right? And I mentioned it on the prediction show. I think her and Becky taking a step back has been good. And I think it's what was well needed for the audience to have a bit of a rest. As much as I think both of them are fantastic, I do think they need a little bit of a step back. And I think we're going to continue that. I don't think she's winning this. I don't think she's going into the main event picture. Surely it's all about Jade Cargill, but we'll see about that. I'm going to bring in now my co-host for this stream. We've got Lucas. How you doing, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm just putting the subtitles on so I can somewhat understand what's going on via the commentary, if it wants to work. But yeah, no, I watched the end of the tag team championship match, and I must admit it's nice to have a pre-show match back. I don't know where I don't know where they've kind of gone. Especially on the American side of things. Okay, that's not working. Okay, no subtitles in. So I can just figure out what's going on. But yeah, obviously it always makes sense to start off with the chamber match, chamber match, obviously.
Yeah.
As they always do for these kind of pay-per-views. And I think, this is the right decision out of the two, I guess. I guess that you could have argued they could have started really hot with the men's one, I guess. But it's a real kind of pro-women's show, isn't it, this show, isn't it? Because you've got, obviously, we had the women's match that had the pre-show, they've got the women's chamber, and of course, I don't know whether they've announced it as last, but it is one of the main matches, obviously, going into it, Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax.
Yeah.
It's shaping up to be, it seems that the crowd are really excited, and this is what I think they're seeing. They're seeing the fact that the Americans they get spoiled because they get weekly television, and they were getting for a number of years monthly, sometimes twice a month. Pay-per-views. Always in America, and obviously that was under the last regime, and it seems like this new regime is very much pushing forward with these international kind of super shows. As they're calling kind of everything nowadays, these large scale premium live events, internationally, and the fans are really reacting amazingly to them, aren't they? Like we've seen it with Puerto Rico, we've seen it obviously with right here in Blighty when we've had, Clash at the Castle, and of course building up to Money in the Bank last year, which I think was like a phenomenal atmosphere, and a really good show as well. Tiffany Stratton now, by the way, making her entrance. It's bonkers to think she was, competing for the NXT Women's Championship 6 months ago. feuding with Becky Lynch and stuff, and now she is in front of, I don't know what they're going to announce attendance as, probably probably like 255,000 people.
And 7 kangaroos.
255,000 people and 7 kangaroos. So get it right. I guess maybe that might be something that Grayson Waller announces on the Grayson Waller effect potentially. But yeah, it does seem that it's bonkers to think that now Tiffany Stratton, obviously this is a real testing ground for her. I'd like to think being in a match this kind of caliber. On the pay-per-view calendar, there is like a few things to tick off. There's a Royal Rumble. She ticked that off already. There's, being a part of the Chamber match. She now ticked that off, unless anything happens in the next 30 seconds, I guess. And being part of WrestleMania, which obviously you have to imagine people involved on the kind of like the last stop to WrestleMania have a very good chance of being featured in some capacity at WrestleMania.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you say, though, it's a really kind of interesting test for Tiffany Stratton because
definitely.
Being on NXT just a few months ago, well, just a few weeks ago, really, but it's one thing being on the main event of NXT. It's another thing being on the opener for a big kind of PLE, right? It's completely different now, especially, again, gone are the days of the black and gold when they were selling out, 14, 15, 16, 20,000 seat arenas. It's pretty much in a very small, confined arena, and it's very, very kind of micromanaged, it seems, and kind of fine-tuned. It's not the NXT of old. It's just, for better or worse, it's a different kind of NXT now. So it used to be quite kind of a big step anyway, go from NXT to the main roster, but I think it's even more so the case now. Yes, they are kind of micromanaged, it seems, and again, a bit more fine-tuned with the TV cameras and all that kind of stuff. And that was always the case with NXT. It's always been a proven ground for not just kind of the live event experience, but also, being, in the WWE system, it's learning that way of doing things. But I think it's got to be way more kind of daunting for NXT superstars, as they call them now, because again, you are coming from this what feels like almost like a regional promotion. The way it's shot, it's very small, it's very kind of cramped in its atmosphere as well. And then all of a sudden, you're walking out in front of whoever knows how many thousand people and kangaroos, and you're out there in a stadium show. It's a big jump for Tiffany.
Yeah, I think with WWE, what people, especially around this time of year, obviously, we just had we're having a lot of the big events on this time of year, and people obviously focus on people who haven't been used as much or people who stay there for whatever reason, and there always seems to be that thing of like, with WWE, there is just that stratosphere that they could, that rocket they can attach to at any time, and it's just not knowing when. And we've seen it happen with, long tenured people. Like a couple of years ago when Cesaro did finally get his main shots at, world titles and stuff, and was able to be a big part of stuff. Fair enough, it was a pandemic era, so don't know how much of that came into it, but still, it's just the fact that at any given moment, that rocket can be attached to you. But obviously, at any given moment, the rocket you can be very much dropped in that rocket. Have seen from many people. Obviously, got Naomi making her entrance. I've got to say, I'm not a massive Naomi lover. Like, I don't know, like, there's something about her that, got to say, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just feel there's just not much to her. But I can see now that there's that external appeal happening with a lot of people. Where obviously, she's been away for a couple of years now, and she's come back, and it seems that it's made a better deal, I guess, in people's eyes. But I just feel like when she left the company, to me anyway, she was very much not really a main featured person, and if she had not left the company, I don't think she would have got back to this match.
No.
I think it was kind of poles apart from what, the vision. Again, you could argue that was the old regime as well, but I think just in terms of how they book things anyway, I don't see how we'd get there. We got Becky Lynch making her entrance. I think we all picked her, didn't we, to be, apart from myself, actually.
Yeah.
Bianca.
You went rogue with it.
Though, obviously now with Becky, I'm assuming Becky's now starting the chamber with Naomi. We've got 4 in. Oh, we've got new kind of camera angles. Is that real? No, is that? that screens of that. I can never tell anymore if that's real or if that's just graphic.
Oh, I'm a little bit behind you. I think they are. Oh, I've seen them now. No, they're all kind of CGI.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. But
that's cool,
anyway,
though.
It was quite cool. I mean, some of these things look a bit weird, don't they? But I felt that looked quite cool, actually.
Yeah, it weren't bad.
So yeah, we have got obviously now our first two starting the match. Naomi, did she recently sign to SmackDown, I believe?
Yeah, I think so.
I saw of Nick Aldis, and then Becky Lynch, obviously a permanent fixture, it seems, on Monday Night Raw. Obviously, Rhea Ripley is on Monday Night Raw, which, I guess to be fair, Naomi could do a grand jump if she was to win. I guess, as could obviously Bianca Belair. If Bianca Belair, no, she's on SmackDown or Raw?
SmackDown. She's on SmackDown as well.
Okay,
I'm sure. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it seems. I like how packed the floor section seems.
Yeah.
Around the cage. I've noticed it with some of the stadium shows. Like sometimes it doesn't feel like there's too many seats close to the ring for some reason. They're kind of like people need to have so distance still. That was 4 years ago, WWE. But it does seem very much like it's packed around the ringside, which I think is quite a good atmosphere. I think because obviously a lot of the criticism people have had, obviously, of stadium shows, I think since obviously Mania started them, I guess, is that lack of atmosphere, that loss of atmosphere, because obviously there's no roof, the sound just kind of goes.
Yeah.
But I think just bringing the fans closer is definitely a better decision, I think.
I was saying earlier on, Lucas, that I'm a bit kind of, I don't know, concerned, but I do feel like if this show doesn't deliver in a stadium, that it could be damaging for kind of other international shows. I know, like, we're all clamoring, when they arrive on these shores, we're all trying to get there, and the ticket does sell very quickly. But I think if these shows start to become glorified house shows, then I think there is a risk that if they come here to do a big stadium show, or maybe not here, but maybe other countries, I don't know. But there's a potential that I think people start looking at this and going, it's not really worth the ticket, if that's the case. So what do you think? Is that a risk?
I think everything's always a risk of these things. So a very nice kind of technical exchange there from Becky and Naomi at the moment in exchange. But yeah, I think everything's a risk of these things. But I think ultimately the first kind of section of doing these is the newness factor. Obviously, the first time going to Australia for PLE, first time going to Puerto Rico, first time in 30 years, over here in the UK, etc. Like that will all be nice, Becky, nice brief by Becky out of that pin. I think all those first times will be like big for thing. But I think the smart thing they're doing is that by bringing the already kind of branded events over, it at least puts it a step above on the most part. Like I think having Money in the Bank over here, for example, we knew we were going to get ladder matches. So it was an instant selling point. Even though ladder matches were a calamity or they were Jack Swagger taking 2 hours to unlock the briefcase and stuff, it was like, well, you still got what you paid for. That makes sense. Yeah. I think it's obviously a bit harder with these, like Backlash. Like, what does Backlash mean, really? Like, it's not really got anything to it. Yeah. But like Chamber, for example, they knew they'd get the Chamber matches. So if nothing else, like they've got kind of what they paid for. I know that obviously there are, there were some arguments you could say for Australia. They've been done kind of dirty somewhat with obviously, the loss of people like Brock Lesnar to this event at one point, which had to have a match, and obviously the injuries to Seth Rollins, the travel ban to Gunther, obviously. But then when you look at other shows throughout the year, you have to understand that they've just moved to a model, which, again, I'm not the fondest of, but there's kind of less matches and less people on the shows, basically. And so people who are potentially... So I think the only loss they could have is from the audience from about 15, 20 years ago, when they were used to pay-per-views regularly having, 8 or 9 matches and having lots of championships defended, again, under the old regime. So I guess those people are coming with that novelty of it being the thing they used to like 10, 15 years ago, maybe 20, 30 years ago, potentially, now back in town, so to speak. And so they will buy the ticket regardless. But I do think they don't often miss with these, to be fair. I think Clash of the Castle was a phenomenal pay-per-view that we had over here. I think Backlash in Puerto Rico last year was really, really, really strong. The Chamber in Canada, but still not US essentially.
Yeah.
When they were afraid to leave.
Yeah, good point.
US,
Yeah.
weren't they, for a long time? You know, they all kind of hit. Even the Saudi shows, to be fair, they really upped the games. I think.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, particularly last year. You know, I think they had a really strong one. But yeah, no, there's always that fear. I get where you're coming from, but I think their best bet is the tactic they're doing. It'd be interesting seeing what tactic they decide to use for obviously Backlash and for Bash in Berlin, because they're kind of unbranded ones.
Yeah, that's a great point that you mentioned there. You kind of
what's the draw in France?
Exactly.
Who's the draw in France?
Yeah, there's no hometown star or anything like that. There's no kind of PLE theme, as you mentioned as well. So, yeah, maybe that's where we really do start to see the kind of potential strain on these as well. A Critic Galaxy is joining us once again. Yo, back again. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, buddy. Appreciate you joining us here on the stream. Started up quite strong, hasn't it, Lucas? It's been a good little showing between Becky and Naomi.
Yeah, it feels long as well, actually.
It does, yeah. Yeah, how long is it before the next one comes in?
Oh, here we go. Because they just done Elimination Chamber trope. Like, I don't know if Vince started this or something, but it's like, you have to be down when the next person comes out for some reason. It's just like the rule. So they just went from, you know, casually wrestling each other in big spots.
All of a sudden, they can't move.
They're actually showing the WWE 2K24.
Wow, that's crazy. I've never seen them, because that kind of implies.
It's also interesting how Bianca Belair was 95. And bear in mind, the other day I saw a thing where I think Jey Uso is 90. When Bianca Belair is. Tiffany Stratton, I think she had her as 79.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that's. I don't know. I don't know if I like that. I think in some ways it kind of obviously selling the game, but like it kind of. I don't know. It kind of downplays some of the wrestlers, but at the same time, if this was an actual competitive sport, you'd have actual stats to go along with it anyway.
Exactly,
you would have, you know, X amount of losses first time they're in this kind of thing or whatever else. So maybe it is.
The problem is, I think it's not knowing what the calculation is for that though. Like obviously, as football fans, we're aware that obviously statistics get made via actual physical stats. You know, how many goals scored, for example. You know, how many chances converted, etc. But with this, we're like, what are they?
What does that mean?
Like, who's deciding? You know, is it wins and loss record? Is it like how many near falls? Is it how many big matches you've had? Like, you know, how many championships you've won, etc. But yeah, it's an interesting one. And it does beg the question that potentially they might have picked people that are only in the game, obviously.
Good point.
And it's interesting as well, Naomi then being in the game, it seems. Actually.
Oh no, she was already out. Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they put her in first.
Maybe they broke it to her for actually going for the curtain. Just, you know, not in the game.
You're a downloadable career wrestler.
We're like, that's what you get for slamming the tag belts from Vince's desk 2 years ago. But yeah, Naomi just with a dive there across both Becky and Tiffany. Try a double pin attempt. It actually has been a lot of good competitive action, actually. I mean, Tiffany Stratton, she's very athletic, and I noticed that's a trend that's happening with the female athletes, the female wrestlers, you know, recently. They're really going for the ones that are really athletic and really have had a lot of experience in, again, like they did with the men, actually. They went for people who have been, you know, dual sports or triple sports stars, whatever. There's a lot of pro footballers, obviously, in WWE, a lot of boxers, former boxers, etc. But now it seems to be the women are going down that route, which I think is helping quite a lot. You know, a lot of Tiffany's offense is based around her gymnastic background. You know, even her finisher, the prettiest moves, whatever. You know, it is very much because of her athletics background that she can do that.
I guess Bianca Belair is the same, of course, you know, a star in track and field and athletics as well. So, yeah, like you say, it's been a thing that they've done in the men's division for a long, long time. The women's division used to basically be, you know, can you be a model? Oh, we might train you to do some moves as well. But, of course, those days are long, long gone. Critic Galaxy says, I'll be popping in and out, visiting family up north. Hope your family's well, Critic.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much for joining us, mate. But yeah, anyone joining us, we really do appreciate you as well. Tiffany Stratton there, kind of tearing down the house very early on. A very good showing from her so far.
Yeah, I'm I'm not too sure if that was a mistake or if it was planned. It just felt a bit like she tried to lift both of Naomi and Becky
And one fell off.
up onto her shoulders. Oh, nice Russian leg sweep with the ropes there by Becky Lynch. And now Naomi is doing another leg drop, pinning both women. It's actually quite a good showing, I think, from all three people. They've had a lot of back and forth action between all three. And I guess if the plan is for Becky to kind of go the distance, she is kind of taking her fair share of the offense, which helps. But yeah, no, I think ultimately with someone like Tiffany Stratton, she's only at the start of her potential, you could argue, as well, which is very helpful. Which is where obviously I know NXT, you spoke about it, this whole not being a black and gold, but I honestly think I can't remember who put the tweet out, a few weeks ago. I think it was Dijak or Ilya Dragunov. It just said, NXT is at it's better than it was, and I honestly, it actually is. Like, this is what people. I mean, it's not in terms of names. I get that.
Yeah.
Not in terms of names and star power, but in terms of weekly product, in terms of what they dish out on a pay-per-view, like, it is better quality than it was in Black and Gold, in my opinion. And
I don't think it's better than Black and Gold. I think it's better than it was when it moved away from the tail end of Black and Gold wasn't great. I think it's better than that, and I think it's better than what it first was with the colourful NXT. But
I think people are obviously longing for those, Gargano, DIY stuff.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of what they're putting out very good shows in NXT.
They're doing a good job. It's definitely picking back up. It's definitely, and he's doing his job as far as preparing people as well for shows like this. Again with Tiffany Stratton.
I think people forget as well, like that. Obviously, anything Black and Gold, while it did have all your favourite indie darlings that are lamp on AEW, involved, it also struggled with like a number of things that the current NXT just doesn't have. Like the old NXT for me always struggled with anything that wasn't a title match, meaning making importance of it, both for the men and the women. And so when you look back at the old card, like, yes, if it was your cup of tea, you was getting Gargano and insert Adam Cole / Tommaso Ciampa / whatever as your 1 hour main event, but you was also getting like not very good women's title matches, or you wasn't getting like just your random feuds. Everything had to be for a title. It had to be like this big kind of, all had to fulfill the indie checklist. But now, for example, like they've had, recently when they had the Joe Gacy and Dijak feud, that was able to exist, as like a secondary program to the main championship picture, which also then interwove with the Dusty Tag Classic, the whole Trick Williams and Carmelo stuff, which just would never have happened previously. And I think, although it's got work to do, don't get me wrong, and it's still, there still is every time, I guess when you speak to people, there's always that. I bloody love Tiffany Stratton's.
Whoa. Look at that.
Thing. Oh, she tried it. Oh, Naomi's climbing again. Must say she has done something already off this, I believe, the leg drop earlier. So I don't know what she's thinking next. You'd have to imagine that you've got a few women in here that could do stuff off the pods or off the structure itself, haven't you? You've got obviously Tiffany, Bianca Belair, even Becky, to be fair. I guess everyone in this match, to be fair. I mean, I would be surprised if Raquel Rodriguez, pod, but I wouldn't put it past them at this point.
Raquel might be the one to throw someone through a pod.
Yes. But I'm kind of hoping that they save. Oh wow, nasty! They save that for the men. Like they have it in this one, but it's not in the next one because it's kind of a repetitive spot. And how many times this unbreakable plexiglass be broken? People go, well,
isn't it meant to be bulletproof?
That was when Goldberg went through Jericho to be a Jericho, wasn't it? The bulletproof plexiglass. Okay, well, we have got Naomi on top of the pod.
Okay, there we go.
For Neckbreaker on Liv Morgan. I think it was a bit of a rough landing, that.
Yeah, it was. She looked a bit.
Oh, Tiffany Stratton has just eliminated Naomi.
Wow.
Following that, don't know if I expected that or not, but
no, I didn't.
Maybe both look at each other as well. It just looked like
I think it's well played though, because that's a potential feud now, and also it, as you say, it looked like she hurt herself coming off of that big kind of move, and it could be seen as a kind of high risk, high reward, but not quite for her, of course. So
But they'd already opened the cage
the
door for her, like as well. But I don't know if it was something
Get out
during the pin. They pretty much opened the door. But Naomi is now eliminated. We are down to obviously, it's 5 wrestlers now. Would have once the next person comes out. The next person comes out is it Bianca Belair? No, it's Raquel Rodriguez.
Raquel.
Sorry, I was. But yeah, here we are. Raquel Rodriguez is coming in now. She's gone straight up to Tiffany Stratton, which sort of makes sense. They mention again her W2K ratings, which I find very odd. Nice spinning power slam there by Raquel Rodriguez. But yeah, Raquel Rodriguez, obviously someone who people feel could be a matchup for Rhea, and they haven't really obviously explored that yet. But it just feels very much like it's not been there for her as much as it was at one point.
Yeah.
Which happens quite a lot in WWE, doesn't it? Feels like people...
She's been away for a while, hasn't she? But when she was around before, it did seem like she was on that kind of typically about to be pushed situation, again, you never know when a spanner is going to be thrown into the works with Elimination Chamber. There is a possibility that she does win it and she goes on, as you say, to face Rhea in the match. That kind of makes sense. But for me, it's got to be Becky here, and I'd be pretty disappointed if it was Raquel. I think she's got to have a good showing in this match. She is so far whacking Tiffany's head against the chains, but she does feel like she's kind of groomed for that position, don't she?
Yeah, I feel maybe if they ever get over this, everyone has got to have a title for a year. Stuff they've been doing for the past 5 years. Yeah, but yes, it could be one where she does have. It's the thing. I don't understand why they have to insist on these. Everyone has to have long title reigns, but I'll be down for Raquel Rodriguez being someone who, gets a title for a few months and then they just set someone up, maybe via a tournament. They like those things now, don't they? Or via winning a battle royal or something, and then you face Raquel Rodriguez and then win the championship. I don't see why you have to have storytelling kind of all the time. That is not saying to get rid of it completely, but why every story has to be every single champion has to basically be undefeated for like a year, and then it is a case of, oh wow, someone's now beat this person every single time. It can just be, well, people can win matches. But yeah, Raquel Rodriguez, she's someone who I think she's someone to watch for sure. But you can argue that now, obviously, we've got Tiffany Stratton in here, and you can argue that also potentially about Liv Morgan. That awkward feud she had with obviously Ronda Rousey. Honestly, I think there needs to be. I don't think WWE would do it, but there needs to be some sort of documentary on Ronda Rousey's last run in the company, because it was. I've never seen someone on more autopilot. Oh
yeah, it was
the big kick out. They covered her and she kicked out of everyone's pin there. I guess that is a nice way to display. Everyone's down again now. Don't know if they're setting up for Bianca Belair to be in last. I'm assuming Bianca Belair's probably going to get a couple of eliminations, I reckon, when she comes in.
Yeah, she's got a clear house, surely.
Yeah, and the last 2 will probably go to, I guess, the eventual, what people believe is the eventual winner, Becky Lynch. They just announced, I think they just said about 50,000, over 50,000. I guess we'll get the official attendance later on, so that'll be at least they'll probably tackle at least 10,000 on to that before the end of the night. They'll be like, oh, people didn't come on time,
To be fair, it's starting to fill out though. Yeah, second and third tier were not as busy as they are now, but there's still a lot of empty seats. But
yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know what to put that down to. I think the sales are good. It's a very big stadium. People got to remember.
Huge.
And they are going into this event without, obviously, a main men's singles champion kind of being ready to compete, which you could also argue is their fault. Like, they're going to fix this, obviously, at the Rumble, with obviously either having Roman lose there or by stripping Seth of the belt or something and doing something, around that. Because, I guess, I mention it now, I'm not a massive fan or I think I prefer the chambers when one's for a championship and one's for the opportunity.
Yeah, same.
Because it makes it different at least. Because now you're basically
getting weird to have both of them.
You're basically getting like a second chance at the Rumble spot, if that makes sense. That's what it feels like. It's like the second. I guess this might be how they market it, or how they're thinking of it. This is like your second chance into WrestleMania, and obviously everyone else had a third chance into WrestleMania. It's just by being someone like Brock Lesnar or The Rock, where you just go, well, I want in The Rock, so that's why I'm able to be in the main event. But Right, I've actually got food being delivered now, so I'm gonna leave for a little bit.
Sorry, you enjoy it, buddy.
Shall return after this. Cheers.
All right, mate. See you in a bit. All right. So, yeah, thanks to Lucas for joining us. And as he said, he'll be back in a moment. But we are deep into the Women's Elimination Chamber now. Raquel and Bianca going at it here. It'd be interesting to see the order of eliminations. It is always one of those things that you think, does it mean anything? Naomi going out first is not a good look, but someone's got to go out first. And I think the way they did it again, as I said earlier on, was kind of one that made sense in the storyline. You can move on to something with Tiffany, and it kind of protects her in that sense. Oh, okay. Wow, okay. Bianca bounced off of the ropes there. Does the counter DDT onto Raquel, onto the outside. Drags her in, goes for the pin. Bianca's definitely got the kind of momentum at the moment, right? But surely, this is for Becky Lynch to win. Tiffany now kind of getting involved, moving Bianca out of the way to go in on Raquel herself. What's going on? Surely something's going to happen from the top. Yeah, there we go. Liv's on top. This is a long spot. That's my only criticism for this so far. Whoa, okay. Bit of a senton there. What are they doing? Why are they looking like that? So Becky's just thrown Tiffany into the plexiglass on top of the pod. She's trying to do the manhandle slam from the top. Oh, gosh, she's just knocked off into Raquel. Still got Tiffany up there, though. This is just too long. All right, she's not sure. The fans are getting behind her, though. Whoa. Lovely swanton off the top. Again, all of these moments took too long, but they were all good moments like you can use in a highlight reel sort of thing. And I get like you're hyping up the crowd. Should I do it? Should I do it? Type thing. That one was fine, but the others were kind of like they were waiting for their spot. And I do feel like you do get that quite often in multi-women matches. This is awesome chant though from the Australian fans. They're enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I gotta be honest. It is good, even if it just kind of seemed a bit too kind of by the numbers there. Again, it'd be interesting to see who gets eliminated when. It's been a long time since we had the last one. Oh, Stratton looks to be gone. There we go. She's gone. Liv really healing it up as well, which is interesting because Tiffany's hardly been in her career in WWE, at least a baby face. So fans are really behind her, and Liv typically has been a baby face, and now she's healing it up. So interesting there. I think they're chanting BS there, if I hear that right. Raquel now kind of taking charge of her big old legs. Bouncing Bianca off of the rope into... Oh, okay. Wow. Interesting. Bouncing Bianca off the ropes into the chain and then over the top rope itself. Chokeslam there. Bit of a sloppy one, but... Becky now taking charge of Raquel. Looks like this might be where we see Raquel exit the match. Not tapping yet, though. Maybe she's going to lift out of it, being the big, strong gal. But Becky keeps it in strong. Maybe this is where we say goodbye to Raquel. Becky saved herself there from a pin. Lifted up by Raquel. Oh, okay. Liv jumps in. What's going on? Oh, okay. Double kind of bomb. Oh, here you go. Bianca's picked up Raquel. KOD. That was the... There we go. Raquel's gone. Good way to get rid of her. It was a scary looking one there when she lifted her over, obviously being quite tall, Raquel. That was a bit of a risky move, but she did it well. What a great shot that is, by the way, guys. Look at the skyline just over the... Is that real? We talked about CGI earlier on, but that's real. That is an incredible shot. What a great location for a stadium in that sense. So we got Liv, Becky, and Bianca left. Still, to me, looks like everything's going to plan, in my opinion. Again, I do think it is going to be Becky and Rhea at Mania, but we'll see. Bianca's making it look like that's not the case at the moment. Lovely moonsault onto the two of them. Tries to pin them both, but they kick out. Imagine that, though. Imagine if a match just ended on a double elimination. Like they should probably do that. That's pretty cool. I mean, there's only so many things you can try with matches like this these days, as far as being new. So that'd be pretty cool. I reckon it'd be cool. Of course, we saw something similar at WrestleMania a few years ago with Edge and Daniel Bryan being piled up by Roman Reigns, but yeah, it'd be cool in a match like this, I reckon. Backstabber on Bianca from Liv. Knocks her out of the ring for absolutely no reason. But there we go. Psychology. Oh, okay. She's gone for Hurricane Runner. She's been held by Bianca and thrown into the chains. All right. As things start to slow down in the match, just want to say thank you everyone that's joining us, whether live or on demand. We appreciate you. Drop a comment. Let us know what you're thinking of the chamber so far. Decent opener, that's for sure. Three of the ladies on the outside now. And I think this is what's good about this match. And I think both of the chambers, again, as I said earlier on, quite an impressive field. You've got... Ooh. Interesting move there. Bianca thrown into the pod by Liv. Yeah, it's an interesting field of talent. You've got in this match at the very end 3 very kind of credible main eventers. I don't think that's the way we're going because Liv's not been used much lately. Bianca's surely going to be outside of the main event picture. But Becky Lynch, who's taking control in this match, seems to be the one who is going to go towards Rhea Ripley. But again, you wouldn't be surprised, or you might be surprised in the sense of how things have been built. But if you saw it on paper, there'd be nothing wrong with seeing any of these women go to WrestleMania to face the champion. Just thought, though, speaking of the champion, I can't wait to see Rhea's entrance in Australia. I think it's going to be incredible. So Liv now trying to get on top of Belair and stop her from kind of countering Becky's offense there. Oh, sunset flip into a bit of a pretzel looking powerbomb there, but we got it done on the top rope though. We got Becky now setting up. Drop kick to Liv. I mean, it's surely Liv's going out first, right? Because the only kind of it'd be wrong to do it, but the only kind of other scenario I think is for Becky Lynch. For Bianca Belair to win. Not that I'm a big fan of Bianca, don't get me wrong, but she needs to take a step back from the main event picture, and I think Becky was the same. She's getting back into it now, and it'll be Bianca's turn soon, but. Surely she's the more believable person to go against Becky at the end here than Liv. Because again, Liv hasn't been used that well lately. But there is a ready-made storyline there. Liv and Rhea's got a bit of a history, of course. Oh! 450, but Becky gets her knees up. Oh my goodness. All right. Incredible 450 there. Again, what a view, that skyline. With the sunset as well, amazing. Great shot from above as well. All right, now Bianca's got Liv up for the KOD. She counted it. What does she do? Okay, jawbreaker is what Corey Graves is saying. It's hard to tell from that camera view, but another one from Liv now and Becky. Oh, what? Backflip there from Bianca to get out of it. Lifts up Becky for the KOD. Oh, no. Okay, she lands on her feet. Rolled up by Liv. Oh! Hold on. That was so quick. Wow. Okay, so before I even got to say it, but Bianca Belair got eliminated by Liv Morgan, who then straight away walked into a manhandle slam, not a pump handle slam, and got eliminated herself. Therefore, the winner, Becky Lynch. That was very cool. I like that. It was very quick. Kind of what I mentioned earlier on about the double elimination. It wasn't quite that, but it was the same sort of effect in the sense that the match was over very quickly from being 3 people in a match down to ending. So there we go. It was I think, predictable ending as far as who won the match, but not predictable in the sense of how they got there. That was a really interesting way to do it. Seeing the replays now. Because that was my kind of thinking just there, okay, it's got to be Becky. So I was very surprised when Bianca got eliminated. I thought it'd be Becky and Bianca for a little bit, but they did spend a lot of time having the final 3. So that was kind of our last moment there. And then, it just happened very quickly. And I think that's good. I think that makes both Liv and Bianca looked quite strong. But there we go. Becky Lynch is the Elimination Chamber winner for the women's division. And she will be heading to WrestleMania to face the Women's World Champion, who is either going to be Rhea Ripley or Nia Jax. We'll see that later on in the show. Surely, especially now you've set up Bianca. Becky. It's going to be Rhea Ripley, right? Surely. It'd be mad. There are so many reasons not to take the title off of Rhea. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So first match out of the way, guys. What did you think? Let me know in the comments. Are you enjoying the show so far? I am. We've got now an advertisement for WrestleMania Philadelphia, which is... Well, actually, for World, I think that's a new version of Access. It looks like. But do you remember WWE World? That was the old WWE New York name when it got rebranded as well. So they couldn't let go of that. It's so weird to me seeing this WWE 2K ad with a heavy kind of feature on backstage brawls, because that's not really a thing in WWE anymore, is it? You know, I remember when those kind of things first get added to the games. That was because the hardcore division was running wild. All right, so now we're getting an ad for Bailey. Depending where you are in the States, I mean, you might be getting an actual advertisement here, but we are watching a Bailey promo video, who is absent from this show, it would seem. Again, I mentioned earlier on, I thought she'd be showing up on the pre-show to kind of make the save for Indy and Candice LeRae, but no. The Women's Royal Rumble winner doing nothing. So we can hear the old theme song and a change into Bailey. She destroys the Bailey buddies. This is a very poorly placed ad because the beginning of it, I thought, oh, she's babyface now, right? The beginning of it kind of showed that. But now if we're highlighting this, I know they're not really thinking about it, don't get me wrong. I don't think they're really planning it, but they've got to realize that people are watching this on the road to WrestleMania when Bailey is now being kind of positioned as a babyface again. And I do think, as Rob mentioned a few weeks ago on this channel, that she will be coming back with, bringing back her old theme song in the Bailey Buddies. And I do hope that is the case at WrestleMania. But this ad is kind of poorly placed in that sense. I mean, they're talking about, again, it's a great video package, don't get me wrong, but now a history of damage control. Okay, all right. To be fair, now this is showing the whole thing. I thought it was just a generic promo, as we do get on these PLE sometimes. But we are now seeing, Bailey winning the Rumble match, and it's kind of bringing it all the way up to speed now with, I guess, her turn back to a babyface. All right. So again, it'd be interesting to know whether or not this is being shown in the States as well, or if this is just a network thing. But I imagine this is something that's being shown to everyone then, because it is touching the current storyline. All right, now we are on an ad for, I guess, some sort of documentary. Okay. Oh, biography. Okay. It's a bit awkward doing like current superstars, isn't it? When it showed Roman and he's kind of in character, like just do legends. We don't need biographies of current superstars. Not yet. Lovely promotional images of Perth there, of Western Australia as they're promoted down the bottom. I'm loving it. I got to say, guys, I really do enjoy these international PLEs. As Lucas said earlier on, we've got one in France and one in Germany later on in the year. So we'll be covering those in depth on this channel, as we will be doing with WrestleMania as well, of course. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. We've got build-up content every PLE. We go live just before the PLE and kind of get yourself and ourselves in the mood for the show. We do watch-alongs every now and then, not that frequent, I'll be honest. We usually do them when the time zones are kind of kind to us. So that's why we're live at the moment. And then we do, of course, review shows, podcasts beyond that with news, and also interviews with WWE superstars. So if you haven't seen those already, check those out on this very channel, including one with the man we're about to see now as well, Mr. Pete Dunne, formerly known as Butch. He's got his name back, and they've got a new name for a tag team, the New Catch Republic. Good seeing them together. Good to see Tyler Bate finally on the main roster. I mean, I think surely he's the longest in developmental, right? Like as I just mentioned in commentary, the UK title, which is long gone. That's when he kind of came on the scene. He beat Pete Dunne in that final. And it was like those two were the stars, right? It looked like, okay, Pete Dunne didn't win, but we're going to do something with him. He steps up eventually to the main roster, but Tyler Bate stays in NXT and NXT UK as well, and then back to the kind of colorful version of NXT as well. And now they're on the main roster together. It's an interesting path. Did the little thing there, is that for Mustache Mountain and their old buddy Trent Seven? Not a fan of the theme song though. Doesn't sound I don't know. That's all right. It's very generic sounding, isn't it? Watch me in 2 years' time, I'm like, tune. All right, here we go. The Judgment Day. First appearance from them. It does feel like this PLE is all about the Judgment Day, with the recent rebranding of the logo to purple. And, of course, the poster child of the event being Rhea Ripley. Now, this is an opportunity. As Dan was mentioning the other day, the tag division is stacked, right? They could do a lot with a tag division. But it feels like they should probably stay around the waists of the Judgment Day, because there's just so much more you can do. You can redo this match at Mania if you want. And again, as Dan mentioned the other day, you could go into the Awesome Truth as well. They mentioned in Archie from commentary as well. That's been an interesting twist in the Judgment Day storyline. You know, it's been Not something I expected, but something that's been really entertaining. Of course, R-Truth is just a great performer. And it's given Damian something to do because he's carrying around a briefcase for no reason, it feels, So you need to kind of keep the Money in the Bank winner distracted. Otherwise, you're constantly going, oh, why is he not cashing in? All right, so as we head into the second match now, we are going to bring Lucas back into the stream as well. How you doing, mate? How was your food?
It was actually very good,
Good.
It was very good. I wasn't going to order. When you're in two minds whether to order or not. And I was just like, I fancied an omelette. I was like, by the time I go shop, I had a work meeting, as you know, I had a work meeting before this. And obviously I was working yesterday. And he's like, time I go shop, get eggs, get the stuff, have to cook it, prep it.
Yeah,
that's taking time, isn't it? And so I ordered an omelette. And I didn't know it came with chips.
So that's always a perk.
Yeah. I think the price is okay. And I did a thing where I ordered something else. It was free delivery, and then like 10% off. You spent over £10. So like I literally just added something else on to make it £10 and get the free delivery and the 10% off.
Nice.
So like a cookie as well. But actually really nice. Good sized omelette. Good sized omelette.
Good.
Lots of mushroom. It was mushroom and cheese I went for.
Okay. And chips as well, mate.
Chips were a surprise. They were underneath the omelette as well. So like I cutting the omelette. I was like, oh,
what a surprise! I was once at I went to a cafe in near Wembley Stadium actually, and the same thing. I ordered spaghetti bolognese because I was like, I don't want chips. I don't want burger and chips or anything like that. I'll try and have a bit more of a proper home cooked meal sort of thing. So I ordered spaghetti bolognese, and then it arrived with chips. I was like, what? I was so confused. Why are chips coming with bolognese? But yeah.
I think usually the problem is when at burger places, when you go to them, you're never really too sure whether chips are included, is it?
Yeah.
Because some places do the burger and the chip separate, like they charge them separately. Some places included because they assume that obviously it's burger and chips. And then you get the places like Nando's where they assume everyone wants two sides of everything. So like you then end up with like two sides, and the amount of people you see, I guess now luckily they've got the app and the table ordering, but back in the day when you actually used it the old-fashioned way, going up to the till, see people go, oh, what sides do you want? Like, I can have chips. And what's your second one? Chips. People just get like 2 chips because they're so uncomfortable with having to look again at the menu they've always looked
at.
About,
like
5-10 minutes.
Clever though, isn't it? To kind of get that extra money, to kind of imply that you should be getting a second side. So,
we just had Dunne and Tyler Bate.
They've knocked out
Dom before and try and eliminate him. Moonsault off the apron. Very hot start to this match.
Yeah.
I think it is needed though, because obviously the pacing we spoke about quite a lot. With the pacing of these shows sometimes can be a bit off, because obviously the massive setup now involved, I guess, and obviously the contractual obligations to have an advert every 30 seconds it seems because of Peacock. In the States at least.
Yeah.
But it is helpful having matches that kind of just get to it kind of thing. They get dark all of a sudden as well.
It did.
Literally,
because they've not. It's like they've not got lights on. I mean, because the fans are in darkness
wasn't
as well.
It was like when they had the women's chamber.
Yeah.
Unless they have lights around the chamber structure, maybe. I'm guessing if they have got to have lights somewhat.
I mean, you can see, the sky is changed. It has got darker anyway, but they've definitely turned off some lights as well, I think.
Yeah. It seemed very odd though to kind of have one match where, the first match we could really see all that crowd, couldn't we?
Yeah,
the crowd that are facing the hard cam, so to speak. We could all see them, and to me it was actually making the match more enjoyable because, the crowd are really involved. They're there,
It is odd because they usually try their best to keep stadiums lit because they want to brag about we're in a stadium, So
unless there's something going on,
maybe there's an issue
meant to know, which obviously we might be able to see. We might see, obviously, when the match goes on. We're getting some tag stuff. I mean, I don't know if Dunne and Bate are the best choice for this match, personally, out of all the options they had. It's a bit weird how it feels like to me, like he's using the chamber to kind of introduce people. Because
it's not the time of year for it, is it? There's a lot going on already.
But maybe this is a kind of reset of the tag division, so to speak.
Yeah.
Trying to.
I was saying the other day, Dan was mentioning just how many kind of tag teams there are, and you realize it's a huge division if they want to pay attention to it. So hopefully this will be kind of the start of that. I don't see it changing as far as the tag titles. Because like you say, it's a strange time to build a new team. But they've done pretty well with them lately. I'm saying as well, just before you rejoin me.
That was Santa Claus in the crowd. Sorry.
Well, they are interesting over there in Australia.
Are they early for this year or late for last year? We're at that stage now, aren't we? Like, what way are you going, love?
Maybe it's because it's eventually going to... Because obviously they have it's summer at Christmas there, isn't it? So maybe they just want to be a bit more traditional and global sense. And when it gets colder, they want to be dressed as Santa like we do. But yeah, I was saying just before you come back that it's interesting to see Tyler Bate on the main roster. I think surely he's the longest kind of longest reigning developmental guy they've got, right? He's been in NXT or NXT UK since the UK title tournament.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of stories about Tyler Bate that go around the British circuit.
Right.
Potentially about how he got the chance to go to America before and he turned it down because of it was like his mate's stag do or something like that. And so he decided to go. You look up, it's legit. Like, he decided to go to that instead of obviously go over to America. And they kind of held, particularly I guess under the old regime, that it was kind of held against him for a long while. Similarly, like when Gargano and Ciampa. Remember when they were first brought up to the main roster? People forget this. They were first brought up to the main roster, weren't they? Like 2019, I want to say at one point.
For like a few weeks, wasn't it?
A few weeks, and then it came out that they basically kind of slagged off essentially the production. The production of the show essentially,
right.
On the main roster, and then they got sent back to NXT, and then obviously remained there for a number of years until they got called up again. And I don't know how much they're regretting that, maybe because they haven't really been the same since. I mean, I know DIY. I think they were part of this tournament thing. They did a tournament for, which I quite like. I know tournaments can get overdone and overused. AEW in particular, they love a tournament, but I think WWE, if they were to spotlight, maybe they were to have maybe like every quarter, let's say, spot, and they could have got the different belts and divisions. You can change them up at least. So you can obviously have a tag one this time, one for the women next time, one for like the main event men, I guess, and then one for like the mid card men or whatever. You want to put up a challenger for someone like Gunther or whatever. I think it's interesting way to spotlight different tag teams. They've got a lot of tag teams, and I think we spoke about this other day where it's the last belts they've really got addressed now because they're still the last belts that have. They are effectively still the Raw and SmackDown tag team championship with the colours and everything. Like, they need to address it at some point. Yeah.
Are they going to keep them separate? Is someone going to win one half of them? Because if they do combine them, then you kind of have the issue that, the whole title thing was supposed to fix of, not having one of, you're going to have tag teams on just one show. So they kind of need to figure out what they're going to do in that sense. And then also, whatever they decide, it's then a tricky situation of, do you have someone beat them for just one of the set of titles, or do you they put themselves in a corner in that sense.
I still maintain that one of the best things one of the best ways to solve that issue was to have the wrestlers solve the issue in the sense of like when Brock Lesnar was the WWE champion back in 2002 during the original brand split, he just basically refused to be Raw. And so they were like, well, Raw needs a world championship.
Yeah.
And I guess you could argue they de facto did that with Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Because it became a sense where he just wasn't going to defend the belt, basically, against a Raw superstar because he couldn't be on the TV to build it up because he had to build SmackDown. So, but they kind of did it the long way around with that. But I think similarly with this, it's a case of, people, the Judgment Day, the main seems to be on Raw. If a SmackDown tag team come up and say, look, we want to take a set of belts back to SmackDown with us, essentially. But I do think, I don't know. I know Dan is, he's a lover of these, like, having one set of tag belts defended amongst both brands. But they don't do that is the issue. I think if they did do that, there may wouldn't be so much of an issue. But because it does seem that they're only going to, I guess it makes sense because respect you're relying upon people. We need to respect that people are obviously, people obviously,
they got lives,
families and lives and stuff. They, you're not realistically going to get those people who want to travel, that much, to defend belts across both brands. So isn't it just easier then to have two just champions? But also as well, it feels like they do a lot of secondary tag team stuff, even if it's by accident. Obviously, recently on Raw, they've had the whole Imperium and New Day thing, which you could argue that could have been a cool thing if they had two different belts. To be like, okay, Judgment Day versus New Catch Republic is these set of belts, but like New Day and Imperium, because imagine the bangers they've had, not for the championships and the singles match combinations and all that they've had. You think if they had championships involved, that could have been like quite a good thing. Like to have.
I mean, just like the Judgment Day, having the titles, it makes the stable look strong. If Imperium also had the tag titles alongside Gunther with the IC, then again, that would be a great kind of image for them as well. So I understand what you're saying in the sense that if you've only got one set, then people were kind of over there just having tag matches for no reason, it kind of feels like. So the problem is when they don't actually use them, again, we've got a lot of tag teams at the moment, but WWE have been on the cusp of this so many times of like, wow, the tag division looks like it could be stacked, and they do nothing with it. So
it's all down to the presentation of the tag team. They don't present tag team wrestling as being important other than when they want it to be. And they only seem to want to be important when they want to spotlight a single wrestler in the tag team.
That's it.
It's been
a main
the way
event.
Since Shawn Michaels super kicked Mike Jannetty to the barbershop and they saw dollar signs. Even before that, they saw that with Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage. They saw we've got the mega powers. These two people cannot team together. They have to feud. They have to fight each other. That's the only. That's the thing. Their only end goal is always that. You can argue even with the Judgment Day. The end goal of this is that eventually someone will leave, and whether it's Finn Balor gets the hump with Damian Priest because of the cash-in thing, or Damian Priest decides to go rogue with his cash-in and cash it in potentially on someone that they don't want him to cash in on. Like, end of the day, it is going to lead to Finn Balor facing Damian Priest at some point down the line. It just doesn't. We just don't know when. Like, it doesn't seem like it doesn't appear to be this year WrestleMania. I guess they're going to do something really extreme tonight. But it could be SummerSlam. It could be Survivor Series. It could be next year's WrestleMania. But we know that. I think we're conditioned as fans to always kind of have that thinking. Because even like with Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne now, I guess they're back together. But obviously, they've already got, you could argue, like the seeds of things that could split them. Because obviously, Tyler Bate has every right to go, well, why did you leave me in Britain? Like, when you formed a new tag team with like other people, and you left me, and Trent Seven obviously got released, didn't he, during all this? Like, there's already those seats where they could easily go to, and because those seats exist, that would already probably
the temptation is always there. Yeah,
people going, oh well, it'll make sense then if like one of them turned on each other. Might not be tonight, but it's going like every single tag team you can use that logic for, because they don't put as much emphasis on the tag team wins and the tag team titles like meaning something, which I guess to swing back to what we first began, as there's a massive airplane spin going on now. I'm sure Cesaro will be proud. But yeah, if you only have one set of belts, you could argue that yes, like you could spotlight those belts meaning something and building up to the big matches, yada yada yada. But you could argue maybe that's what they feel, what they feel they're doing at the moment. Yeah. But then if you're also then leaving like lots of tag teams without clear direction to the tag belts, then that's a problem. Well, Dom just got involved, which is interesting. Oh, Tyler Bate has seen that Dom's got involved, or has seen that something at least happened.
Oh, what, they're going to get rid of it? Yeah, I reckon. Is that just going to be the big pop getting rid of him? Surely.
Does he get ejected? Yeah, I think he
is.
is.
Yeah, it's got to be.
All the refs in his face. There she goes. Oh,
get out of here! There we go.
Yeah, obviously, I don't think we'll see Rhea Ripley yet. I'm guessing they're going to save her coming out.
Yeah, for the big moment later on.
Match later on.
Yeah.
But do we see R-Truth? Though I did see a tweet that he apparently went to Austria. Which, honestly, just made me laugh.
Yeah, he's so good.
Mine's gone black for some reason.
Yeah, so is mine. The screen has gone completely black. I don't think this is Sabu showing up.
Okay, so I still got the lock and then we're back.
Issue. Here we go.
Something else I'll just touch upon actually.
Yeah.
We must give credit to Michael Cole because he can literally, he can sell ice cream Eskimo, it seems, because when you think about it, he's been in this company now for going on 30 years.
Yeah.
And particularly in the last 10 years, where they've obviously upped the sponsorships and all the deals, all that kind of stuff. But the amount of stuff that he has to actually shill throughout a night,
such a pro,
is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, you had to talk about credit card about 10 minutes ago. You're talking about, some tourist attraction in Perth that he's probably never going to visit again. We went there to do one little photo shoot. He's like, it's credit to the man, like broadcasting capabilities.
Yeah, I mean, the WWE itself, it's a stacked roster with so much going on, all these moving parts, and he's keeping on top of that as well. So,
for the best part of 30 years now, But yeah, okay, we just had a save there from a massive power bomb, and that was quite a good match. Where they keep showing up the stadium. Okay, it is dark now outside. It seems
very dark. Got dark really quick, didn't it?
Yeah, like
really dark.
Really quick. It was like 5 minutes, and it was just pitch black. It looks lovely there, though. To be fair,
it does. Yeah,
very nice with the bridge in the front and the stadium, and then the sunset. All of a sudden, already gone. The sun disappearing. But yeah, that does look better because Dan did mention that Naomi's entrance looked a bit rubbish in the day. Because obviously she needs to feel
That used to always been a concern with Undertaker, didn't it? At WrestleMania, like the match for the Undertaker needed to be later in the show because it looked off otherwise. But then I always think that shows like WrestleMania 31, where I just think of the sun, like it was so bright. That gives it a unique kind of feel anyway. So there is that.
There is that, and also, but I think for us as well, like obviously what happened to watch, particularly those extra long WrestleManias, 32, 33, 34, 35, those extra long, like marathon kind of manias. Obviously for us, it's interesting, seeing the feedback that obviously a lot of people are having for this event in America. Because obviously in America, their start time, I think it's 5 a.m. or 8 a.m. on the other side. Yeah. And we're just like, well, get used to it. This is what we've had to deal with for a number of years. Being uncomfortable, we're having to be physically uncomfortable watching wrestling.
Yeah.
But it is always interesting. I think that messed up a little bit. They kind of had a collision.
It's part of it, isn't it? It just feels weird it feels weird watching it in the morning, don't get me wrong. But even the thought of like, you can have your day and then watch wrestling at like 7 p.m. just feels bizarre to me because there's just nothing. That's just not what we've grown up doing in this country. It has always been a 1 a.m. type situation.
Yeah. I mean, we got a bliss thing when it was moved to 12 a.m. at one point. It was midnight at one point.
Yeah, mainly it's going to be that. So that'd be nice.
But, this is where, again, the international package is going to be interesting seeing, obviously, and a channel what we do for it as well, because we'll be always hitting certain people's positive times, I guess, for online watching. And other people's not. Because you can imagine a lot of people, obviously, at the moment might be at work today, obviously. Yeah. If you're working, obviously, just a normal job, I guess. Any job, really. You can work on Saturdays, I guess, still. Yeah. But some people might be going to, might even be up yet. And a lot of people, obviously, will be out or going out for the day or whatever. As obviously it is in London, England, where we are currently. It's 11:20 a.m. and I think it was spitting earlier, but the sun has poked its head out, and so it's like a nice day. So some people might feel to go out and then watch this a bit later on. But yeah, we're still in this tag team championship. We talk about the tag teams. Obviously you're watching on demand or whatever, you're watching live. You want to have your thoughts, obviously, let us know. We're interested in what people think about anything really, to wrestling or WWE or us or anything else. But it just seemed like we're saying it's a clarify. It's the one area where they haven't really addressed these championships, and you could use the argument, well, they've had the same champions, but they haven't, because they have actually changed these belts a couple of times, like since last year, haven't they? They obviously had the random Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso win back in September.
Yeah, I forgot all about that, because I was talking about Cody's kind of story since WrestleMania, and I forgot they even did that.
I think it was only held about a week or two. I think it was very.
This is it. There we go. It's over. All right.
There we go.
As expected, Finn Bálor and Damian Priest pick up the win, keep their titles.
Oh, yeah, because you got thrown the titles by that runner.
Do you think that this show, and it's looking like it is the case, going with the predictable winners, is because of that time zone situation? To kind of, but it feels like it's kind of counterproductive, really, because maybe the better thing would be to kind of have things up in the air so that you feel like you have to tune. Like, if there's anything to make you tune in at 3 a.m. or whatever it may be, wherever you are in the world, surely it's the kind of anxiety that something big could happen and you might miss it, So it's a bit strange to have a predictable PLE when, as you say, people might watch it at the end of the day when they get home from work or when they wake up or anything like that. But then if they see the results, they might think, there's no point.
Do you want to mention something? Sorry, Finn is kind of holding his thumb quite a lot. I don't know if that's legit, but he had trouble, it seemed, gripping the belts. I don't know what that was from. Just watching this replay of the coup de grace now.
He is
right. I don't know whether it's just a general kind of thing, maybe, or whether he's, But it's even he's holding his right hand out really weird, like when he's landing.
Even when he does the jump, the coup de grace, his arm is a bit further away, as if he's trying to kind of keep it safe.
Yeah, now he's got his right hand, his thumb. He's
like that, isn't he? Yeah.
Tall. I guess we're going to get an up. Oh, he's really showing it to the camera now. I think he might have a broken thumb. I guess we'll see if anything pops up on the social media feeds for that. I don't know where that would have come from, but I
didn't notice it when he did it. So
it was quite a high, as they are always these kind of tag matches. There was a sprint to the finish, and a lot of stuff happened. So it can be any one of those things, I guess. But they're showing the WrestleMania kickoff promo thing. Even with this, you think maybe they used tonight, to be fair, to announce this. What they're doing essentially with it, because they've got Seth and Cody, haven't they? On Grayson Waller.
I wouldn't be surprised if The Rock showed up.
I'm sorry to go back to your question before, though. Sorry, Scott.
Yeah,
we got sidetracked with the Finn Bálor injury. I think it's a mix of things. So essentially, the time zone doesn't favour it. Yes, I get that. But I think the timing of the pay-per-view dictates, annoyingly, that they're not going to do many changes. So I do think that in another situation, changes would happen. But we've seen it happen very few times. And they seem to, always kind of have to kind of make ways to make it happen, if that makes sense. Like, obviously, going back to when John Cena won the Rumble and then became an idiot when he decided to put his title shot on the line at No Way Out. And then still ends up having them. I think he lost the match, and then he got the match back at Mania anyway. But whatever, they have to do things like that. Or when they had the Fastlane situation, where they had the triple threat, didn't they? Was it Roman, Daniel Bryan, and Ambrose? I want to say. But yeah, it's a very difficult one. I think it's just about tonight. I think it feels very much like it's very default, like where they've got championship matches and then the contender matches and the chambers, where people basically already kind of feel they know who's winning based off it being thing. And even the men's chambers, like, just put 3 Raw men in and 3 SmackDown men in if you want to do that, because people, you could scream it, just screams obvious, because there's only one Raw wrestler in the Chamber match.
Mm.
And so unless you're going to do like a major brand switch, and again, I think people forget there's logistic issues about a lot of this stuff. Like obviously, the wrestlers get their schedules. They obviously have to factor in their own lives into this, and they have to factor in media appearances, and like a lot of moving parts here. It's not just a case of, Logan Paul, you're going to work Monday instead of Friday now. It's like, it's
not
not
that
as
simple,
easy.
is it?
Not simple. We forget that it's not just like a regular job. This, and again, some people, particularly like look at Randy Orton now as he's preparing for a chamber match. It's not simple. They have a lot of the contractual obligations where potentially, Randy Orton has to be on Friday nights because that's in his contract. He has to work Friday night. We've seen a lot of interesting contract situations happen, haven't we, over the years with these things. But I just think, tonight's show, obviously they got hampered by the injuries as well, but obviously having the part-time main champion. But I think ultimately like big changes, I don't think they do off domestic land. But I think the little changes they always will do because they have that power to kind of, do the bounce back, if needs must. So I think, like, for example, when they did the, even though it was the foreign soil, but it was obviously America, they had the tag titles switch hands, didn't they? I think it was Payback. It was Payback or something September, October time. And we did a tag title change, and then obviously Jumping Edge won them back a few weeks later. Like, I think that's the power they have with those ones. So we could have had the tag belt change just now, and then on Raw they could have just fixed it back again.
Yeah.
But it is all just very default. Which I guess the only way they can address that is if they're happy to change ultimately, like how they decided to book the business the past few years. And they've decided to book it where every single championship reign is long, and it's potentially at the loss of enjoyment for some of the other factors that come with watching wrestling, because it doesn't feel like a lot of the matches we go into, even we watch them, we cover them on here, and we just go, well, this is just setting up this is just setting up this is setting up this, and so we just know these people aren't going to lose for like a long time.
It's too much at once, ain't it? I know Dan was saying the other day about the argument of kind of modernizing the record books and stuff like that, and I do think that is part of it. But the problem is when you have Gunther's reign is fantastic, but when it's overshadowed by Roman's reign, it kind of takes a bit of shine off of it, doesn't it? So it's kind of doing it all at once is wrong. And I know, like, hot potato in a title is not great either, but like the fact that every title has a long reign is kind of, as you say, you go into PLEs thinking, well, it's not tonight, is it? And I know the moment they're looking for that big moment of like, oh my gosh, they've lost the title, but that kind of gets belittled when you've got it happening with the other titles as well. So it's not as powerful.
Yeah, I think as well, obviously, having belts that are merged as well hasn't helped them for a long period. Obviously, at one, before they created Seth's belt, they only had the one champion, and he then went part-time, which, and people will, people have put the blame on the old regime, on Vince and stuff, but it is something that's continued into the Triple H regime. Like, Vince McMahon has not had creative power in the company, since at least... since at least 2022. Do you know what I mean? And like Roman's title reign with those belts, it was a year still until they decided, oh wait, let's give Seth let's give a Raw belt essentially. And then even then, it's now been like another 8 months, since they've had this situation where they could still have rectified it somehow. So it as much as it is, maybe Vince and Pritchard and the existing previous regime to blame, it's still existing now.
Yeah.
And it's just a case of, I don't know, I'm getting a feeling from everything that's going on with this WrestleMania build and with all the kind of stuff being said in interviews and everything, that it does feel like they will be using WrestleMania to end things, and then it will be like a new kind of thing going forward. Because one has to imagine, I know we're really fast forwarding now, one has to imagine that obviously if Cody wins the belts, at Mania, which is the right thing to do, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then obviously, if Seth wins at Mania, fair enough. If his opponent wins, sorry, I did say Drew, but I think that's
not Drew yet. We don't know for sure.
But it just feel like we are going to then have to be they'll be setting up Backlash in France, which again is a big international show with new champions. And I think the right move to do on that first Raw after Mania is to have that match, that feud, that rivalry announced, that big thing. And it most annoyingly, because how Backlash operates, it most likely will be a WrestleMania rematch.
Yeah,
it might add a twist to it. Maybe have a triple threat or something. But I think we will start seeing again. Oh wow, no entrance for Austin Theory. I'll guess you're going to introduce Grayson Waller. I'm guessing. But yeah, it's nice to see Austin Theory on though. To be fair, he's someone I feel that really has taken a dip since.
Crazy. Since beating John Cena at WrestleMania.
It's crazy.
Which is something you'd never expect to say. That someone kind of suffered from.
Rare nowadays, isn't it?
That
really,
time,
beating John Cena.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I think he honestly had, I guess maybe something more for close to the Money in the Bank time. But I think he's got to be in the bottom 3 worst cash-ins. Or was it top 3 worst? I guess. I'll have you know if you want to phrase it. He's got, because he didn't get. He literally broke every single rule. He didn't go after a main championship. He didn't even wait for the champion to be at disadvantage, and he lost. he lost. Like all 3 things. Like, at least if you're going to lose for the world championship, and against like a champion who's like big, strong, and like no one believes or whatever. But like just losing to Seth Rollins, like for the US championship. Yeah, but anyway, that again is under this current regime. That was Triple H. That's the same Triple H that people praise for NXT and praise for, his love of certain wrestlers. And we saw 2 of them just now, Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, obviously getting an opportunity to wrestle. Here comes Grayson Waller.
Big reception, as you would imagine. He's proper like Aussieing up. You'd expect him to turn heel in his home country, though, right?
Yeah,
he's not it doesn't feel like he can when he's coming out with a flag. Like,
unless he can do something with the flag in the ring, maybe. It's going to be quite interesting, actually. Obviously, I'm watching that sound, so I will have to rewatch the segment to understand, obviously, the crowd reaction. But it'll be interesting what he does with it, or what he says. There's some local sports star, I guess. Always. Can people? I mean, what's he doing?
He's going to do a shoey, isn't he?
Oh, okay. Who's the guy? So it's always a strange in the chat saying it's this person, but it is literally like, okay, to Americans, right? If we said, okay, Ant and Dec, like, you know what I mean? If we said like Ant and Dec or like the Go Compare Man, like this is what it feels like. The
Go Compare Man.
It's what it feels like. Oh, yes,
he should have been at Clash at the Castle to Go Compare Man because he's Welsh.
Well, at least Clash they went for Tyson Fury, didn't they? Who is kind of internationally known, at least you would have thought, because of boxing. Yeah. But it is always weird when they have these like real, because there's so many sports that just aren't.
Yeah, they've done it with us before, haven't they? With Vinnie Jones, Wayne Rooney.
But some people must literally be thinking, like, what the hell is going on? It's quite funny, though.
They're using tweets down the bottom as well. So, like...
are these, like, fake, though, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
These are fake. Yeah, these are ones that he, like, does.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because always funny names, like, what's that? Yeah, like, it's always, like, funny names and stuff.
Right.
But no, it's a good feature for the show, though. At one point, I think they had too many talk shows. I'm glad they dialed it down a little bit.
Yeah, there's so many in the history, isn't it? Maybe we should do that. We should rank our favorite talk shows.
I don't know. I think something like a ranking. I think tiering is quite popular on YouTube, isn't it? The whole tier list and stuff.
Yeah,
like tier listing for the cash-ins or for Mania main events, or it'd be a nice, easy video to do. I mean.
Yeah,
good to get more content on the channel. Seth Rollins is coming out. I don't know what the hell he is wearing, which is what we say all the time with him, I guess.
It is interesting though, isn't it? Like I was saying earlier on before you joined me, that it's risky when you put a babyface in with the hometown guy, even if he's a heel, you know. So yeah, people are really behind Seth and Cody at the moment, and I do think the Rock kind of backlash has helped Cody, but and he's rode the wave quite a bit since he come back, as far as kind of not being kind of turned on by the fans by being, you know, shoved down our throat sort of thing. But it is still a risky move to kind of bring Cody out here, and they kind of need Grayson to do something heelish for the fans to turn against him, I feel, to kind of back up Cody.
I guess, yeah, it'd be interesting same with this one. Interesting it's going on now as well. Oh, I've got the Days of Champion there. That's quite nice. Quite a nice addition.
That's cool, yeah.
You know, again, this is how much of it is because this kind of, you know, this merger as well. I think we will start seeing these stats and stuff like coming up more and more now, and presented differently as well, like presented in like a more sports kind of way. You know, like 200, just that, like, was it 270 days as champion, 272 days held? I can't remember what it said, but it felt more like real legitimate sports.
Yeah, I like that
sports style, which is interesting because of, you know, for a number of factors. But yeah, it seems Rollins is getting a good reaction as expected, I guess.
Yeah.
Obviously, people are. It's starting to see him. Obviously, I guess people were hoping that they see him compete in a match. It'd be interesting what the original plan for this card was. You know, I know obviously there was a Dominic and Brock match, but I don't know, would they have had the chamber made for the belt if Seth was clear?
Yeah, because like you say,
as well, would they have had maybe like a tag or something involving both of them? Or
I think Punk was probably going to win the chamber.
Yes, sorry, yeah.
To go on to
replace him then. I mean, yeah, it's very interesting, this, isn't it? Like, it's very interesting because, like, you know, at one point, I think we're saying this, but it seems to happen every year, isn't it? At one point, WrestleMania looked like X.
Yeah.
And it always ended up looking like Y. But this year one is quite bonkers, though, the way they've got to what they've got to. And we might still be saying that, you know, at the end of the night or end of the morning for us. I think it's that clarity we need, like what's going on at WrestleMania. You know, what is The Rock doing is the main thing.
But that's the thing. The chamber always does kind of throw up, you know, has the opportunity to throw up these kind of, you know, spanner in a works type situations. But this one does seem a bit more clear cut. And again, whether that plays into the time zone situation, the most confusing thing, as you say, though, is The Rock. And it feels like we're getting a tag match and then singles after it. But
well, yeah, that's the thing. And obviously, we have to assume for now, The Rock and Roman being there, which, I mean, you know, you wouldn't put it past them to potentially, you know, put them on a private jet or something, or sneak them over. But it does feel very much like that's not the case. They're not there. It feels like awkward one-sidedness to these kind of things when you don't really hear from the other side. But it just seemed very much that The Rock is definitely aligned with Roman Reigns and is against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, you know, in terms of their presentation. And this presentation now, I guess, is a case of kind of getting it so that is Cody on the line, on the same side as Seth, essentially.
Yeah.
Then if both those things are true, then I guess it is just a case of just booking the match, essentially. Ready for the woe.
Well, they were singing the whole song, to be fair, like very, very loud, the Australian fans.
I mean, yeah, it's probably a segment I will watch again, obviously, off a stream, because I can't obviously
the audio.
Hear the audio.
Yeah. Which
adds a lot to wrestling, you know. Because something I don't know about you, but something I did find I struggled with at first when I started going to WWE events. I first went to house shows.
Yeah.
But was the lack of commentary at one point, because
there's
so much,
doesn't it? Yeah.
You know, that gets added to the presentation of the product, the brand, through the commentary and through like the talking segment to stuff, all of which gets lost at a live event. But then you get that new love of obviously being around fellow WWE fans.
Yeah.
And I say that very, very deliberately because I think there are differences in terms of WWE fans and wrestling fans, and in a positive way, because I think that obviously dirt sheets and, you know, for a number of years will paint, you know, WWE as, you know, one thing, And obviously a lot of it was down to how things did end up going. I constantly see kind of tweets and posts or whatever, showing cards from the mid 2010s, and you're like, damn, like how was this like a $50 pay-per-view, and yeah, you do question that. But when you're in that building with watching a WWE event or that arena or that stadium or whatever, like, you have to remember everyone there is a WWE fan, like, and that energy usually translates around. And so it's a much, even if the product in ring or the booking or whatever, whatever's going on backstage isn't to your liking, people still accept that we are all WWE fans, like there for the night and there to enjoy ourselves. And I think it really comes out when you go to a live event. And, I'm looking forward to obviously going to Berlin later on in the year. Potentially, I might buy it at the house show they've got at the O2.
Yeah, I wonder if that'll turn into a SmackDown, because it's on a Friday night.
It is, isn't it?
So
I don't know. I just get the feeling, obviously, it feels a bit like we've been maybe having to play the long game with this. Obviously, that moment, it's at Money in the Bank with John Cena coming out and saying, let's do WrestleMania London. It just feels like we've got further away from that.
Yeah.
And obviously reports are to be believed about next year, potentially being in Las Vegas. It just feels a bit like we're far away from that. And it seems like obviously with AEW having kind of locked in the August event for next year as well, it's like, well, where does WWE slot? Like, do they wish to do a Survivor Series over here potentially?
Yeah, not the
Rumble here. Rumble here would slap. Rumble here would be a good one.
Especially Royal, like it's in the name, like all that theme, like proper.
It's only Royal Albert Hall was too small, but that'd be a perfect name.
That'd be fantastic.
The Royal Rumble at the Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Obviously it's January, so it couldn't be a stadium. Obviously over here, I don't know what their next move is, but we have to assume with obviously the placement of Backlash and of Berlin, and the fact that tickets for those were released and that they were announced, with posts and advertisements, way in advance, and for AEW being in August, which is in between those two things, that we're not probably getting one. Definitely not, I don't think, in the first 3 quarters of the year.
Nah.
Though I wouldn't rule out potential for Survivor Series or the Rumble next year. Maybe they're holding out for that. I don't know.
That'd be huge. If we got the Rumble, that would be huge.
I think the Rumble would be a good shout. But
I've never really thought about it. I've never thought. Obviously, the conversation is always WrestleMania, and then you go, well, if not Mania, maybe a SummerSlam again. But yeah, I've never really thought that Rumble could kind of go international as well. But yeah, it would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the door. People talk about AEW and the Forbidden Door quite a lot, don't they? But I think the door in terms of WWE was always an international event. It was always the fact that we've gone from, when you look at, I think there was at one point a playlist for, international events in the UK, and we've gone from, the first kind of events they did back in like the 90s, starting with SummerSlam, obviously, but leading up to potentially what were house shows, and then we had our own. When we had our own events, didn't we? That were only really for us.
Insurrection and Rebellion and all that. Yeah.
To full-fledged kind of pay-per-views, that sit, alongside the other offerings they have. So I don't think anything's out of the question now, but it's just a case of, I think the only thing is, for me, so out of the question, I just don't see WrestleMania London happening.
No, I don't either. I don't. And I always say, because you can make both things happen. You can do a WrestleMania-sized event in London, and then you can do WrestleMania in the States. You get the best of both worlds. So I think that is always going to be the temptation.
Yeah, I think. I just think there have to be a lot of stuff in the road for it to happen. The main thing is for London is that it's a busy city, and we have a lot of events on throughout the year in London. We have stuff like London Fashion Week. We have So I just remember that because that was recent. I'm no interest in this, but we have regular film festivals over here. We get even small scale events like the Chelsea Flower Show, for example. Like they are like well visited events that people travel to, like in their thousands, sometimes tens of thousands. We now get obviously NFL games over here, Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
There's like a lot that happens here, and even just generally, we've got in London, we've got like obviously the O2, Wembley Arena. You can literally type in anyone from the top 20 charts, and you could assume that they're going to be performing in those venues for the next 3 months, 6 months.
Yeah.
And so we get a lot of that kind of stuff. And obviously, football over here is an actual football, not soccer Americans or hand egg. It is obviously our most attended kind of event regularly that happens, I guess. And so we're not, but London in particular as well, in the football, like we have, how many Premier League clubs in London?
Well, what have we got at the moment? At least Arsenal,
Tottenham,
West Ham, Chelsea, Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
I think that's it at the moment. But that's 5.
And that of like what, of the 20, 24.
Yeah.
And then you go down to League One and go to the Championship League One, like that fills out, definitely opens into double digits.
Yeah.
By the time you get down to those. And we're talking over here, Championship football is still watched. Some of the games are still watched by a number of people. Yeah. Not talking, it doesn't drop that low.
No.
Even down to League One, League Two, there are games that get attended into the thousands, particularly playoffs and FA Cup games. But anyway, I digress. I just think London's problem is that they won't pay the money they want for it.
No, they don't need it like some of these other places.
Don't need it.
Yeah.
WrestleMania weekend this year is in Easter holidays, which is generally just a really busy period for England and for London. And London is one of those cities that just doesn't really have a down season. Even though you get maybe the first couple of weeks of January where the tourists kind of go home for a little bit. But then you get the ones that just come, like the ones that want to have Christmas or New Year's in their own country. They then just hop on a plane and come over, maybe on the January 7th, January 10th mark, and then it is just busy all the way through. And in summer in particular, London is you can barely move in some places, can't you?
Yeah,
some parts of it. But
you're right. It's not like Cardiff, which I think turned a lot of eyes on to Cardiff, myself included. Really enjoyed my time there, and it made you go, "Oh, maybe we'll come back for a little trip or something like that." That's the kind of, and that's still capital city of Wales, but London just doesn't need that, like you say. Other than a few weeks in January where it's slightly quieter, it's a chaotic city where they're never going to be paying for it.
Just to say, Cody just said he wants to wrestle The Rock anytime, any place, one-on-one.
Oh, okay.
So Seth's now at his side. Just to confirm again, Cody did say he wants to wrestle The Rock anytime, any place, one-on-one. And Seth's now at his side.
What's this all about then?
I'm really delayed with the subtitles. What do you say? Just hyping up a single match, I think.
They're going to cut the head off the snake, Seth's saying.
For all.
Oh. So, is it just Seth's going to kind of lean it into a tag match? Is this how we set it up?
Okay, he's just saying about the bloodline.
Okay.
He knows. Okay. Yeah, he knows things one-on-one. Okay, he can basically say, I'll be at your side.
There's no reason for Cody to say that. Then. Like, we all know it's going to a tag match. It's so weird seeing a little bromance between these two.
Yeah, won't be fighting that battle alone.
Oh.
Austin Theory's not happy.
Grayson Waller's a bit annoyed as well because he's taking the mic off of him. It doesn't matter from Austin Theory.
I do hope they revisit something good with Austin Theory in the future. In the future, I think he's a talent which you've really got to give time to, and he's that rare breed where he's good in the ring, he's good as a person. If anyone knows his personal story about how some of the stuff he does outside the business, I can attest to. But also, he's good on the mic. He's, and he's young as well. He's another young one, isn't he? I think he's 25, 26. Now, incredible shape as well.
Yeah.
Okay, now he's out the way.
All right, as expected, the segment
cutter
gets physical. Grayson Waller's not quite sure though for backing up his mate, is he?
He was like, "Yeah, go for it." I'm assuming this will lead to some sort of match between Waller and Theory.
Yeah, it's just a short term.
But I'd argue that's a bit premature. Oh,
yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know whether because Seth's injured, but I've been up for seeing maybe Cody and Seth facing off against Waller and Theory. Yeah. It's like the tune-up match to speak before they then.
Because he needs something, don't he? He can't just go in to Mania having done nothing. Surely, I mean, yeah, he could do it behind the scenes without cameras. Don't get me wrong, but it does feel like they're cutting it fine.
Right. So, from what I understand, the segment has ended with essentially them leaving it with Cody. So Cody challenged The Rock to a match anywhere, any place, and Seth has basically said, "Yeah, they've literally gone black." Really, okay, maybe running over, but and with Seth saying he'll be at his side, but not explicitly saying that it would be like a partner, a tag thing. But
just
he did
saying,
lead to
back,
essentially saying, there's no such thing as one-on-one with the bloodline. So from this, it feels like they're setting up Cody with Seth against The Rock.
Which is very bizarre. Because maybe that's what it is. Maybe Seth really isn't clear, then we're not going to get Seth at all at WrestleMania. That's not something that we've kind of been thinking about lately, because Seth has made it clear that he aims to be back for Mania and says he will be, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe we are going to get Cody versus Rock, and then the next day Cody versus Roman, which would be really strange.
Very strange. I guess it's one of those, we have to see how it develops. Obviously, we are 5 weeks away from WrestleMania now, I believe, 5 to 6 weeks. Yeah. But it's one of those where maybe they're doing it as a placeholder. Maybe that's a placeholder. It's hard because the problem they have is this is The Rock's first match for 10 years. Okay. And it feels like they teased Rock versus Roman. We didn't get that. And they then went, okay, we're going to give you Cody and Roman. But are they going to tease like another match? It's then not going to happen? Because at what point is it just a case of like, maybe The Rock's not even appear? At what point do you lose complete faith with this and say that they're just, because the first rule of promoting or of advertising anything is never promise something you can't deliver. First rule. And one could argue that, yes, they could. The plan, it does seem that they are very much now going forward with The Rock and Roman going to WrestleMania next year, which obviously that would then happen. But it's like a case of, okay, if they have now said, essentially, they teased the idea that The Rock could face Cody, like that match has kind of got to happen. Like, you can't just put it out there. But if it's been used to maybe build to a tag, I guess we'll see, obviously, next week on SmackDown, I guess, The Rock and Roman kind of reply and say, we'll fight you together or something. But then does that make The Rock look a bit weak?
Because even the whole kind of, like Seth saying, look, when you fight the bloodline, it's never one-on-one. Like, we had that promo last week. So I don't get why they did that. Why have they hinted at the one-on-one and then still not explicitly said, look, it's never one-on-one, so therefore we'll make an official tag match? We're still very much up in the air, as you say, a few weeks away now, and we've got no idea what's going on, as far as The Rock goes, at least. Of course, we know it's Cody and Roman, but everything outside of that, we've got no idea.
And this is the thing. I mean, going back to the question about, the big things happening on international grounds, is that one of them? Are they doing this to then have something announced, to have something posted, on Monday, when obviously they're back in the US and they're back in their usual kind of time zone and stuff. Like, do they then announce a match on Monday? That makes sense. Where you'd argue before, the good way to announce it would be on the pay-per-view, because you should have most eyes watching.
Yeah.
But are they aware potentially of a lot of people, both domestically for them and maybe even internationally? Even in markets like our market, a lot of people do work Saturdays. So there's potentially a loss of viewership. It'd be interesting, the viewership, I guess, for this event, essentially, like, domestically and internationally.
Yeah.
Is it less or more than the other ones? That makes sense. But it does seem we are getting the men's chamber now.
Straight.
We are going with
the
Monday Night Raw main event of Nia Jax.
Wow. I'm very shocked by that. I mean, again, I understand poster girl and all that stuff, but I mean no disrespect when I say this, but it is not a pay-per-view main event. As you say, it's kind of a Monday Night Raw main event, and I do think
the better women were in the chamber match.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why this is next.
It's not like it's going to be like a, tear down the house type match. I'm sure it could be good.
This is the thing. Like, it's not about being anti the women, or we're saying women can't be last or whatever. It's just this match can't be. Like, it just feels
that match. It's not. It's not like we're waiting for, like, oh my goodness, like, because again, it feels predictable as well. So it's not like we're like, oh, something big could be happening here, or there's a return, or it's going to be a banger. You're like, none of those things apply here. The only thing is that it's Rhea's home country. That's the only thing.
I think the only thing they can redo is they're expanding on the fact that obviously, the story thing of booking the show of the Becky winning the first match, and then obviously Rhea wins, and it's like, are they going to do the point of the sign kind of thing at the end of the end the show, Becky Lynch coming out and kind of confronting Rhea Ripley, and
I thought that'd be the case at the end of the women's one, and I thought the women's one were going last for that reason, because that was, as you say, it's a stronger match, it's a stronger field of competitors inside. And kind of, it was a great match as well. So that going on last, I think, would have made a lot of sense. And then Rhea coming out for that moment head to head with Becky. So we might still get that, but not much for the match itself, though, is it?
No, yeah, obviously, these could be famous last words, because they could put together a banging match, I guess. Rhea and Nia. For me, a lot of stuff would have to align for that to happen.
Yeah.
And/or we're getting some sort of big moment in that match to make it kind of main event worthy. But it just feels very much like they're just like, well, she's from here, so she has, let's just throw her on last. But
I think the atmosphere is going to be incredible when she comes out. I think it's going to be a fantastic entrance. I think the crowd are really going to be behind her. But what's the closing moment other than Becky and Rhea face to face? Like, there's nothing to go, oh man, the way that show ended. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I guess you can only imagine, I don't know, it's the thing, like, would this match still have been on this placement if CM Punk was the original winner? Like, would they have had CM Punk's kind of first, I guess, non-Raw Rumble? It would have been odd though, I guess, because Punk wouldn't have had a match on Raw still, and would have only had the Rumble, would have only had the Rumble as like his only match, which would have been really odd, I guess. It would have had like a one-on-one match, you know what I mean, or anything else. But it would have been perfect, surely, for Punk. But it's just, even without Punk, though, I still think this should be last. And, I guess we could be sitting here going, oh no, there's a reason, blah, blah. But
I just can't see it, though.
I can't see it. Yeah, I really cannot see it. Other than, unless there's someone legitimately back there who thinks this match with this talent involved, you're going to like stick the joint out, something like really bad that only Nia Jax can save the atmosphere, can stop the cue of the refund line. I don't see it. I'm sorry. Like, I know there are people in the comments who, maybe people obviously there who really want Rhea to be on last, and look, I get that. And again, not saying women or Rhea or anyone can't be last. But I just feel this is wrong for this show, particularly because it is called the Elimination Chamber. And the main event is not a chamber match.
I find it weird that she's not in the chamber match herself. I think the title should have been defended in the chamber personally because she's on all the graphics. It's always awkward. Sometimes they do this anyway.
Sky didn't have a match.
Sorry?
Sky didn't even have a match.
Yeah, no Bailey either. Like crazy.
Bailey. That is a forgotten match at Mania. I hate to say it. Like do you reckon they forgot the Royal Rumble, the Women's Rumble existed? Like,
they thought it was only a men's one.
Against the Mania, be like, why are you two here?
What are you guys doing again?
I mean, hopefully we'll see more story points added to that. Obviously, as the build to WrestleMania continues to happen over the coming weeks. It's an easy
story to tell. They just haven't done enough with it. Like positioning of it has been terrible. All right, KO now making his way out. So if it's the usual kind of order of service, then he'll be in the pod.
Yeah, I think you usually do it that way, didn't I?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Kevin Owens make his entrance. He's one of those, but I never know really whether he's gone up or down. I mean, I guess he seems to always stick around, isn't he? Like upper mid card, kind of level. Obviously, I guess there is always that dream and hope, I guess, from him and obviously fans of him that he will get back to, the level where he was Universal Champion and that. But it just seems again, this is again the detriment of this, one belt show they had for a long time. It just feels like there's a lot of people that aren't going to get the success that they really should have had.
Yeah.
When you factor in the fact that John Cena is a 16-time champion, and don't get me wrong, there are a lot of good John Cena title reigns. But remember that random one where he just beat AJ Styles at the Rumble and then 3 weeks later lost it in the chamber, get to Bray, and then. Was that 2017, wasn't it? Yeah, 2017.
Oh, then, yeah.
And then you had Bray losing to Orton at Mania and that weird match of the projections on the thing. And then Randy Orton lose to Jinder Mahal. It's got to be literally 2017. The most random.
I think that's such a weird time.
That could have existed. Jinder lost to, was it AJ?
I feel like it was, yeah.
In England, wasn't it? On like a random SmackDown. Yeah, because that's the year they did AJ and Brock, isn't it? A Survivor Series. And then AJ lost to...
A whole year is strange.
A very weird year. But you would think, like, Dean Ambrose was like a 2-time WWE champion, wasn't he, I think?
Yeah.
And not that I can remember anything he did with the belt, apart from that, when they had all 3 Shield members hold the belt in one night thing. But apart, that aside, but what I'm getting at essentially is all these people had a couple of reigns or a couple of runs, but it's because a lot of people from this generation aren't going to get that because even now Bobby Lashley, like the fall of Bobby Lashley over the past year or so is something which it just boggles the mind.
Yeah. It was so kind of hot and on fire, wasn't he? Like with the Hurt Business and all that stuff, and then the fact they've done nothing with him since is criminal. And I think, like you say, a big part of that is because of the long reign that Roman had, kind of tying up both belts. And then when they get the second one as well, Seth's had it for too long, in my opinion, as well. So it's and now they've got him in this strange storyline with Street Profits. So I mean, as much as I said earlier on, both of these chamber matches are stacked and as main eventers in it. It's also a lot of them you're looking at it going, well, he's not winning it at the moment. Any other time in history, yeah, maybe, but not. There's no chance Bobby Lashley's going to win this. It's crazy to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it's down to those 2 factors, the one belt and the long reigns, because I think there's lots of people here that would have been, had a world title reign already if it wasn't for this. And I guess one could argue that they've made it seem like a bigger deal now, I guess, to get a championship match or to win a championship potentially, because obviously, there were times when, again, you're going, especially when they had the 2 world titles back in the brand split, 2007 to about 2011, 2012 kind of time, when you always had, I guess the problem they always had is that there was always a secondary champion and there was always a massive gap. Like when Big Show was world champion, no one really saw him as the main champion against like John Cena or Randy Orton when they were WWE champion. And they had like Alberto Del Rio and Jack Swagger, for example, was world champion. Like no one was thinking he was like the main champion. But it was nice for people to be at least like acknowledged, I guess. I guess the worst example was when obviously you had the ECW belt get into things, and you had to have like Undertaker legitimately go down and pretend that he might fight for the ECW championship. And bless Matt Striker, he kept putting over the fact that the ECW championship was up for grabs. Could have been, but no, it was never seen on that level. A few prime bottles in the crowd. People giving some interesting hand gestures.
Cup being thrown at him as well. Again, another I think this match is going to be great because who's in it. But why would Logan Paul win a championship title opportunity? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I guess with Logan Paul, they've got the thing that he gave his gun to someone to Brian Paul. Sad thing is that person could probably sell that for quite a lot of money.
Someone will buy it, and there's a chance that someone will chew it as well. But,
honestly, one of those things I just never want to have happen. I'm one of those people. I can't even take a sip from a cup someone else has touched. Like the person. So like the thought of obviously having to. Like when my mum as a kid, when she'd like buy one drink and we'd share it, and like she'd have the first bit and like leave me the rest, and I'd be like, I don't want to drink this, but I know I'm not going to get a drink again for like another like 2 hours. But yeah, okay, so Logan Paul. Wait, is he the fourth person entering? I can't remember.
So who else we got? Drew and
AJ. Okay, Logan is in the pod. Okay, I'm gonna say it would have been interesting when he was to start. I don't think they'd risk him starting. As much as I think, to be fair, like in terms of someone he really hit the ground running, hasn't he, with this kind of stuff. I don't think they'd risk him maybe starting. They want him to come in and do his thing, kind of.
I'm excited to see what he's like in the chamber, though. I think again, we've said it for years now, but he's been incredible. Like a duck to water. He's been so good getting in the WWE landscape, and I'm really excited to see what he does in the chamber. I mean, we talked about in the predictions the other day. There's potential here for people flying through the bulletproof glass, and there's also potential for people diving off at the top. And you got to predict someone like Logan Paul is the one to do the dive.
Yeah. Or AJ. You got AJ in there as well, though. I know he's getting on a bit, but. Yeah, you got AJ. Owens as well was a shout of this crazy stuff. Like the stuff that you can do is just insane. So yeah, there's a few, and I think that's what makes it interesting. Randy Orton always gets this huge pop now, doesn't he? He really does. Like, I think his injury made people realise that this guy had maybe one bad bump from just saying, "Look, I'm not doing it anymore."
Because there were so many rumors, weren't there, about him potentially maybe not coming back. So I think you're right. It's that appreciation has grown, and no pun intended, but he gets the legacy pop. He gets the kind of, we're so glad, like as you say, we're still seeing this guy active, and what a privilege it is to be able to say I saw Randy Orton live. I think a lot of people from the generation after us, Randy Orton and John Cena, of course, is. It's their guys. Do you know what I mean? It's just
and he's not the last one doing it.
Yeah,
like full time. Full time doing it. Out of that class. That I mean, as someone who obviously is, now trains people to wrestle and has trained, previously. But imagine being in that class with Batista, Brock Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin, Randy Orton, John Cena. And then even in that early OVW days, like we know, Connect talks about it quite. Randy Orton has climbed the pod. Randy Orton has climbed the pod, everyone. I don't think he'll be diving off the pod. Those days are long gone for him. But yeah, he has climbed the pod. He climbed Lashley's pod of all pods as well, which I don't know if that's symbolic of anything. Mentioning about him playing mind games. It's just a mind game in itself, you know. But yeah, Randy Orton now deciding to get back to where he knows best. But yeah, he's going in the pod, so it means that AJ Styles will be starting the match with Drew McIntyre.
Interesting start.
You got to think... not going in the pod. He walked towards it. The pod again.
He's just, as we said though, you know, he's well appreciated at the moment. I think he's appreciating the reactions himself. You know, he's kind of trying to lap it up. He don't know again how long he's going to be doing this for. So,
well, that's the thing. I think you could argue he's probably going into maybe every big match thinking it might be his last.
This could be his last chamber. Yeah.
You know, and it's scary kind of saying, quite emotional saying that.
Yeah, it is.
Because I think Randy Orton's someone who he's been such a part of the product for so long.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, he is from that original class. He's the only person still doing it full time.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, you know,
and as much as his body is kind of, you know, obviously aging and he had that injury problem, you wouldn't know it, would you? You look at him and you think, my goodness, he's in incredible shape.
In incredible shape. I mean, I think his movement has slowed a little bit. He's a bit more cautious, but I get that's because of the injury and potentially, you know, he had surgery, which obviously, I guess us kind of normal people can't really imagine, but it was a very, very invasive surgery. It was a very, very kind of long recovery from that. And it is almost one of those, you know, kind of those movies, you know, learn to walk again kind of moment kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what people forget. Like they aren't just, you know, me and you, you know, anyone else. They break an ankle or have an injury. Like you rehab the injury just to get back to just doing your normal life. Which you know, most people walking to work or getting the bus to work or whatever it might be. But to these people, it's to get to, you know, within the top, you know, 5% really of athletes in the world. You'd have to argue, you know, at the level they're doing it, you know, alongside obviously, you know, football players and you know, some of the elite kind of sports stars that are out there potentially, aren't you? You're talking that level and potentially the main event of WWE, potentially talking the top 1% potentially, you know, of athletes out there in the world. So it's a much harder recovery process. But I think with Randy Orton as well, like we're just seeing that, like, you know, there's that newfound kind of love maybe for this, because obviously, you know, having done it for so long, he's probably had his interest, you know, like that kind of thing. Yeah. But I think now he's really embracing it. He seems really at peace with his spot and where he's at, you know.
Yeah, he's not. That quote from him the other day about Punk's return, you know, potentially overshadowing. He was saying, you know, a few years ago, I would have, you know, I wouldn't have took that well. And he said, I'm proud of, basically, you know, he's proud of himself for kind of growing. And I think it's for the betterment of the company and, you know, his own spot as well. We don't need Randy Orton in every kind of main event picture all the time. So, you know, I'm happy where he is at the moment. If he gave him one more title, now that we've got two, I wouldn't be offended by that either. But as long as it weren't too long, you know. But yeah, I think he's a credit to WWE. He's great to have around for the younger guys. And like I say, it's emotional looking at this, thinking this might be the last time we see him in a chamber match. You know, it is going to come to an end at some point.
Yeah, I mean, another person who you have to imagine, you know, hasn't got as many days ahead of him. Oh, AJ, I thought AJ. Oh yeah, not AJ Styles. AJ, I'm sorry. Sorry, I don't know why I thought AJ Styles in this match.
Every time you said it, I was like, "Is AJ in the match?" All right.
Okay, well, we got AJ.
I wondered why AJ was getting a big moment at the end, but of course it's LA Knight. But surely this is just to set up him and Logan Paul, right?
Yeah, it's got to be. I can't see. I really can't foresee anyone but Drew winning this.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
No. Lucas, I'm gonna quickly hop to the toilet, so I'm gonna leave you alone for a moment, if that's all right. And I'll see you back here very soon. I don't want to miss any of this match, so hopefully I'll be out just for the end of the entrance. Fair
enough. But yeah, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Obviously, we do regular, not so much regular watch-alongs, but we do regular streams for predictions, for instant reactions, and all that kind of stuff. On this channel, there's usually more of us as well, particularly for the. Annoyingly, the American-based pay-per-views actually help us a bit because we can do them in the evening, and more people usually about on a Saturday or Sunday evening at that time. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed what we've said so far. Please leave comments. We like them all. LA Knight has gone on top of Randy Orton's pod, which is quite interesting. But yeah, we have the first two starting. Randy Orton having a bit of a poke there. LA Knight. First starting the men's chamber match is Drew McIntyre, the only superstar from Monday Night Raw, where the championship that he's going to win they could win a title shot at is from. And yeah, LA Knight is starting. The chamber is an interesting one because it, throughout the year we've seen a number of different kind of things happen in this structure and different ways they've done this match. Never forget, of course, the chamber where Edge was pinned as champion within the first 5 minutes of the match, and then went on later on the night to attack. I think it was Kofi Kingston, wasn't it? And he won the other championship, which is always quite interesting. And it's just a shame they haven't done one for the championship this year round. But I think it actually works nicely. One's for a championship, and one is for a opportunity at championship. So yeah, we've got Drew and LA Knight going at it. Don't really imagine this first bit to be too eventful, but it is just, I guess, a case of getting these two in the ring together. As obviously they are on opposite brands, and this is where again the chamber, like the Rumble and like Survivor Series, etc., was always a way to see these interesting matches and combinations of matches. Because when the brand split rules were quite rigid, those were the only times you could see those. But now obviously it's a bit, especially some people, it seems to be on every show. There are some designated free agents. We know, like I think Omos is a free agent, but we haven't seen him in age actually saying that. I think an interesting combination of people this time round. I think it's all very safe. It's all very safe in terms of who they picked. I don't know why I thought AJ Styles was in this match. I think he had a qualifying match. He lost one, didn't he? I think to Drew McIntyre actually. Scott's now back.
All right, thanks for holding down the fort, mate. Did I miss anything interesting?
Not too much. They've just kind of been going back and forth. Drew kind of seems to have got the betterment of LA Knight.
Mocking CM Punk as well.
I was talking about maybe your thoughts on this as well. Like, obviously, there've been some interesting moments in the Chamber's history, and obviously, I don't forget the time when Edge, I forget which world champion he was, but he lost in the first 5 minutes in the one, and they went on later on in the night to win the other match. So he took out Kofi Kingston, didn't he? He beat up Kofi Kingston, didn't he? I think, and then
he took him out. He took his spot.
And then won the other belt. We've seen obviously Undertaker make an appearance in the chamber. No, Shawn Michaels, super kick.
Yeah, Undertaker comes from underneath as well. That was another great one.
So that he'd lose, so that he'd get his rematch at WrestleMania, which was at that point Shawn Michaels' last match. That he went on to tarnish that. It's now only a few years later for a lot of money, but oh well. Yeah, LA Knight is literally right in front of Logan Paul's pod now, bashing Drew's head off it. Probably a few too many times. Logan Paul's liking that though. But yeah, it does feel like they're setting that up as a match. Yeah. But yeah, I do think maybe next year do one for a belt, and even if it is like I'd love to see one for the IC Championship or even the US Championship. It doesn't always need to be a World Championship. Yeah, they could have, especially now they've got the women's stuff as well. There's nothing wrong with having the women's one be, let's say, for a shot at the women's world championship. Women's just like punching the glass while I don't know that's happening. Yeah, okay.
That's weird that there's a mic inside there. You can actually hear him clapping.
Yeah,
I've never had that before.
I'm assuming that those are mics that they can turn on and off though. I'll be a bit annoyed if you had to have the mics all the time, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it feels like it's a bit of an uneventful first 5 minutes. I think it's just getting the combination of Drew and LA Knight kind of ticked off, so to speak. You know, because obviously I was saying while you'd gone, obviously, when the brand split rules are quite rigid. In days past, the only time you got to see like SmackDown and Raw superstars kind of fight each other would be the Royal Rumble match. WrestleMania, when it's like stuff like Angle and Michaels back in the day, and of course Survivor Series. But now, obviously, the rules are somewhat kind of halfway, aren't they? It seems some people seem to wrestle every show. There are some designated free agents, like I think Omos is a free agent, I think, so it can be on either brand or whatever. Oh, Kevin Owens is next in, by the way. So
it's really weird that. Did you notice how they brought up an advertised version of a countdown with Slim Jims there, and then they did the countdown after it. I think the timing was just completely off there. I'm sure that was supposed to be the official countdown, but
another
it wasn't.
choke slam. Bloody hell. I think there's been a choke slam in pretty much every match. Yeah, because Damian Priest in the tag is that his version of it. I
was thinking that the other day
Rodriguez
about
did
the
have a
pedigree.
double one in the women's championship, the women's chamber. Sorry, like Owens just randomly did one as well.
Yeah, it just feels weird that a move like that, much like the DDT did, of course, you know, from Jake the Snake, a finisher turns into kind of a regular move, and I feel like the pedigree's going that way as well.
Yeah, especially with how Rollins uses it in these matches.
Yeah, and Cody uses it now as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, no, that's the thing. I forgot about that, and that's the problem. I think it has to be. It just seemed that the new thing in wrestling is that old finishers are kind of up for grabs as like big moves now. That makes sense. You know, which I get that people need moves and stuff, but it just feels a bit lazy. And it feels a bit like devaluing the existence of that move. But
I guess the argument could be that, well, it's not the master of the move. That's why.
Well, the old one. That's what Grim Monsoon would always say. He'd always say he's not the expert of this move because obviously where do you let it stop? You know, Hulk Hogan finished with a leg drop. You know, we're not meant to do leg drops anymore because people think it's a finisher. You know, it's a difficult one. Interesting combination so far. I felt. I don't know. I'm assuming they're saving Randy probably for last. Randy.
Who do you reckon's the final two then? Because I think we're all on the same page as Drew winning it, but I think it's a risky move to put LA Knight as the final one with him, unless that kind of really just adds to Drew's heel heat.
So final two in the women's one with Becky and Liv. Like for a split second, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Becky and Liv. Becky started the chamber. Liv came in like 5th or 6th, I think, didn't she? She came quite late. Do we do like the first two being the final two, maybe? LA Knight and Drew.
I got a feeling it could be Randy and Drew.
Randy and Drew, maybe, yeah.
You know? Because the commentary team could play up the whole Kevin Owens mocking Randy. That's a bit odd. They could play up, this might be his final chance to main event WrestleMania and all that kind of stuff. And then when Drew takes it away from him, again, it's something that adds to that heel heat.
Yeah, also because I also kind of feel that the kind of de facto way of looking at it is that the runners-ups to the chamber matches and to the Royal Rumble matches usually end up competing in some sort of high-profile match at Mania anyway.
Right.
Which is kind of how I kind of see it is their way of saying, well, the winning prize is this, but the runner-up prize is this in a weird way. And it kind of has stemmed true for like a number of years. That's been the case. It's obviously, and that's why I was very interested that Liv Morgan was. But I guess to be fair, with the women's one, it was very quick, wasn't it? Where Bianca got pinned and then Liv got pinned. Because you have to imagine Bianca Belair is still kind of having a match at Mania.
Yeah.
I don't know about Liv. I don't know whether he fit her in. But what I was going to say is I know how to get food. It was during that match though. Oh, that was a weird move. It was like it looked like a forearm, but also like a crossbody. Oh, so okay, Slim Jim becomes a countdown.
Yeah,
And
but
then,
early it just came up too early. It was just really weird. It came up as the main graphic in the middle, but
before, wow, Logan Paul is rated above Lashley. Let that sink in.
yeah, that can't be good. See, this is all
That-
fun and games,
And
as
they
we
are
mentioned
both.
earlier on.
Everyone in that selection is still rated lower than Bianca Belair. Though I guess you could argue that because they don't obviously have in gender as an option. I guess she's 94 for the women, which is probably a different scale than the men. I guess that's the only way you can kind of really look at
Still, it is weird to see Lashley in this because it starts to make you think that it does a good job, as we said earlier on. It makes someone seem kind of important, but at the same time, if you've got someone's got to have the lowest ranking, right? And
yes,
how do you kind of cover Lashley when you've make him a threat when you've put him as the lowest in the chamber and below Logan Paul? As much as he's a great performer, realistically, if you're however you're coming up with these stats, you can't be putting Logan Paul higher than Lashley.
Yeah, it's a very odd thing. I mean, maybe we'll see there's a video or something that explains it. There might be something somewhere that explains how they do it. But yeah, interesting. Drew and Lashley, obviously that was a Mania World Title match a few years back.
Yeah.
Obviously during the pandemic era, but there was a feud that went on for a number of months for said championship. And to be fair, you could argue with Lashley being the person to defeat Drew at that WrestleMania as well. Like it was one of the first of many setbacks for Drew when it came to championship matches, kind of on pay-per-view. As he then obviously went on to lose to Roman, in somewhat home soil, and he then went on to lose to Rollins a few times now, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's yet to kind of have that moment, which I guess is what he's chasing after, but now obviously as a villain, not as a babyface. But yeah, you have to think that potentially they'd do. I reckon LA Knight and Drew probably a good shout. Or LA Knight, Randy Orton and Drew. Sorry, if not Randy Orton, then LA Knight, I guess. Do the first two, also the last two.
Well, it can't be Lashley because they've already made him look weak, and it's not believable anyway. Because again, he's storyline with the Street Profits, so it needs to be somewhat. That is the challenge of this pay-per-view. It's not. It is a bit too predictable.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, again, that's
on paper. You can look at both chambers and go, "Oh, anyone could win it." But when you look at the landscape of what's actually going on at the moment and where we're going to WrestleMania, there are a lot of people that you instantly write off.
Yeah, I think obviously the travel ban for Gunther doesn't help because you're going to have to imagine that it would have been nice to have an IC title match on the show.
Oh, it'd be great in the chamber as well.
Then I guess I'm thinking as well. What I'm thinking, because obviously the finish they did, just because the finish they did at the Rumble, Logan Paul and KO could have actually been a singles match on this show with obviously Punk in the chamber, so we don't then only one other person, and I guess AJ Styles would have just for my own kind of sanity, have him fill that last spot. I mean, because essentially you're getting the same level performer, aren't you? Really?
Yeah.
In the match still, because essentially with chamber matches like Rumble, unless you're kind of in that final two kind of big stretch that they do at the end, usually, you are just there to just be pinned by someone.
Yeah.
Quite often, and that's not a bad take. It's just that super kick really, really hit Lashley there.
Could be it.
But we're getting the next person coming in now as well. So yeah, someone like AJ Styles going in, like if he's just going to get pinned first or second, like that's fine. Yeah. But you have to imagine it was a really weird finish, wasn't it, for the Logan Paul and Kevin Owens match at the Rumble?
Yeah, it was.
So you have to imagine that, like potentially if Punk wasn't injured, they would have gone down that road of obviously maybe having that title match.
Probably.
I don't know, what time it's like 10 o'clock? Yeah, we are 2.5 hours in. I mean, that's the thing. Like this match is going to go on for at least another 15. maybe 20.
Yeah, probably.
Then another 10 minutes of adverts, and then 10-minute entrance for Rhea, probably.
Yeah, probably going to be about another hour before it ends.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go off of this match, by the way, though.
Yeah, no worries.
That's the best cut for me. I don't want to like dip out of them during a match. But yeah, basically, I've literally got to charge an iPad, so I can't leave before I'm done. Yeah, but yeah, here we are. So we've got a combination. Randy Orton is in the chamber already, so I guess they're going for Logan Paul being last.
Is he the only one? Is he? Yeah, Logan's the only one not in.
Yeah, everyone else is in. Randy Orton did the DT on the outside. I know Pete. Some people. I remember the criticism people had this new chamber design that it was too safe.
Yeah.
Looking.
It doesn't look as damaging as the old one.
Yeah, the old one looked it just looked like it hurt. Like someone who's had a pie wrestling, I guess. But you can see certain things like, no, that's not good.
It looks like you know what it looks like, because this is so polished, it's so WWE, and it looks great. It's a great visual, but doesn't look as damaging. And it's hard when you move away from that one. But it looks like if this was the WWE one all along, then the other one now looks like an indie version.
Yeah. I think something they could do potentially, though I guess it's because of this HD as well. Like I remember reading or watching a video about when EastEnders went to, again, very English this, when EastEnders went to HD and they had to obviously upgrade their set and change their makeup and stuff, because obviously HD cameras just opened up so many areas that you couldn't see previously. Yeah. Like, when you watch old shows, like, any old show, like Only Fools and Horses, Are You Being Served, or whatever, and you just see like this, there's Doctor Who's one that gets picked apart quite a lot, where there are literally wobbly sets and there's like scribbles of X this and X that, and it's not picked up upon those old cameras. But in HD, everything is picked up. But something which could be done is they could maybe make the floor seem a bit more rugged. Like I don't know, if they could spray or like paint it on, or like chip away at bits and pieces so it looks like it's more industrial. Because
they just look like mats.
Yeah, but the difficulty you can have with that is if it's not to a high quality, it will just get exposed. Because look now, even now I can see there's like a scuff mark in between LA Knight and Drew. Yeah, I can see that because it's being filmed. Like because the camera quality is really good. Where back in the day that wouldn't be seen. There's like scratch marks and stuff where obviously I guess where they moved the mats and stuff into position. Everyone's down now, so I'm assuming it's Logan Paul time. I think the referee has just given some instructions to a few of them. As they've now decided to, it's always awkward. They're moving about and doing stuff.
So where's he drawn on the side there as well? And he's he's breathing on it, wasn't he? And then drawing something. No, I can't tell what it said.
Perhaps some commentators have said it, but we've obviously not been able to. Yeah, I think literally the ref said to them do more because it wasn't time yet.
Yeah, they're really weird how, playing up Randy being injured as well with his back. So maybe that's what they do. They go down the route of Drew kind of being, awful and beating up Randy and kind of trying to injure him sort of thing to win.
Here we go. Oh.
Well, he's waiting.
This spot hasn't. Oh, this is good though. This spot hasn't happened yet.
That's cool, yeah.
Usually,
KO locks himself in the pod with Logan.
Jesus, he's really hung at it. Everything's moving. You can see from outside. Owens sucks, I think I read there. Kevin sucks.
Oh, okay.
He is. Kevin can't. I would say I thought Owens had jammed the door.
I thought they were legit stuck then. Oh, there we go. Into the other pod. But you're right, though. This does feel like we're picking up where we left off with this feud, and it could have been a one-on-one.
Yeah. And I think because of the factors going into it, potentially that's why they changed it. But again, it's one of those you can fancy talk and book all you want, but it's just not knowing where they were at.
To be honest, I'm glad about, because the Rumble match weren't amazing. And
no, exactly. Yeah.
I was very much looking forward to it at the time. I thought it would be. And then the ending was a bit suspect as well. So I think it might have been a dampener on the show if it didn't deliver. So it might be a safer bet actually keeping them inside the chamber.
Yeah, I don't know whether it does feel like they're going to. I don't know. You say that it does feel like they're going to do LA Knight versus Logan, but this feud has to finish somehow.
Yeah, it does feel. Yeah, it feels like it could go on for another pay-per-view, don't it? So,
Triple threat, maybe.
I mean, if not, what does Logan? What does LA Knight do at Mania if he's not involved in this?
Yeah, I can't foresee anything where he's not got a match. Definitely, I think that'd be silly.
I mean, last year was bad enough, weren't it? You know, not really.
Yeah, him and Lashley not getting matches, and Lashley having to walk out of that bloody silly trophy. Like for 10 seconds of screen time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
through the pod there. Bulletproof, but not Owens proof.
I think Lashley will go through now, though.
Yeah, you got to think Logan's going to move, maybe.
No.
Oh. Wow, okay.
I think they might have bashed heads a bit there as well, actually.
Yeah, they look in pain, don't they? Lashley looks like he's...
Yeah, he has a full force spear, doesn't he, Lashley?
Yeah, what we want, I'd want to take. The audio's gone. This happened twice on the show now. We've had the blackout on the camera as well. Audio's back now, but a few tech issues.
No, I guess sadly. Oh, Claymore to Lashley on the outside. So we're at that point now where it does seem like it's like big move, pause, big move, pause.
Yeah.
And obviously they've got all 6 people. Did they have their winners as well? All did no one get eliminated before the last one came out, I don't think. No, I think Naomi got eliminated, didn't she?
Yeah, she was out before the pods were all released.
Yeah. For this one, we have got all 6 men still kind of in contention. No one's been eliminated yet.
Who's going out first, Lucas?
I don't know, actually.
I think Lashley makes the most sense, but
yeah, good. He feels odd. Or I guess one of Kevin Owens or Logan Paul, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Logan Paul has taken a lot of damage. Oh, Claymore, yeah, and that's it for Lashley. I think.
Is this it then?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to risk doing kick out.
There we go. Lashley's gone.
Yeah, we got our answer kind of immediately.
Yeah, a lot quicker than expected. Great little spot there.
It makes sense. Like, no one really believed he would go on to Mania.
No.
You know, at this stage. But now we have the first 2 now going at it still. And advertising the American shows at the moment, just kind of saying to people, hey, just
we'll be back. It does feel odd to see that though. I do wonder if there are certain things they've held on at certain times to be like, well, this needs to be in front of this audience, and because these days you don't have to buy, as you say earlier on, a $50 pay-per-view and be kind of committed to it. You can wake up in the morning, watch the main event, and then rewind and watch the beginning of the show.
Referees have just come into the pod to look at someone. Is it Lashley? Are they getting him out, maybe?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, but why did he go outside the ring? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's legitimately hurt, actually.
He did look like he was kind of in pain when he went through the pod with Logan, but I don't know I thought that was just selling at the time.
Yeah, he's still there. Lashley is still. This has got to be. There's got to be like a storyline. Something's happening, which we've seen previously. Again with Lashley, wasn't it? Actually, there we are. There we go.
Oh, that's why.
Okay, so they're doing AJ Styles and night.
Okay, well, you were right. AJ is involved in the chamber at some point. It finally happens. But yeah, I'm very shocked by that. AJ Styles versus LA Knight at WrestleMania. Not what I expected. So maybe we are getting Kevin and Logan again. Yeah.
I think it makes sense because I guess they're going to have to. But I guess they feel they'd have to rush the Kevin Owens and Logan rematch.
Yeah.
You know, basically onto TV essentially this week or next week, I guess, again, wouldn't they?
It's disappointing though.
What? Tweet's low
At this
the ref. The
stage.
ref didn't even sell it.
Oh.
Oh, that looked nasty.
Styles clashed on the chair to LA Knight. So yeah, this is the match. It seems we're getting at WrestleMania.
I must admit though, AJ Styles has become like a modern day Big Show. How often he turns, like he returns as one thing, then turns the next week, and it's interesting as well because Gallows and Anderson. Oh, that's interesting. So Drew's now got his second pinfall in the match. He's eliminated both Lashley and LA Knight. But yeah, Gallows and Anderson, the Good Brothers, are now in NXT, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see whether they get called back up, or does AJ kind of go alone without them? As it seems that the Good Brothers are going to get kind of entangled in the NXT tag team division, which, to be fair, is actually probably a really good shout for them. Because I saw someone posted, and I don't know whether it was legitimate, because I know that how the contracts are very weird there. But they posted a list of the top earners in WWE. And like Cole Anderson was in like the top, I think 15 or something, at the bottom obviously. But someone said like, get me Cole Anderson's agent, because I cannot even name a single match they've had since they came.
They've done nothing since they came.
Absolutely nothing.
The last thing I think of note they did was appear in AEW. That's the last thing where I'm like, oh yeah, they did that. Like. It's been and before that was the Boneyard match.
And it's really weird because at one point, they were considered like the hottest tag team in the world. You could argue, because they were, doing bits of New Japan. They'd done Impact, which pre AEW existing was like the kind of, thing of I'm a good tag team. And obviously they had that thing where obviously Gallows in particular had been there many times before in WWE, so it was, and he had the link to Bullet Club, which obviously at that time was very, very popular. Yeah,
I was very excited when they came in.
But so now just to clarify, everyone, we do have the final four, which is Kevin Owens, who's currently climbing the top rope, Logan Paul was on the outside of the ring, Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, who are both.
Ooh,
that was a nice.
He's up there from Drew. Right on the back of.
You can't see Randy Orton actually. I don't know whether he's still in the ring. I think he was in the ring a second ago. Yeah, he must be over the other corner. Oh, that was nasty. But yeah, I look forward. Saying that, I do look forward. I mean, that in a way, I guess, is a nice little swerve of direction. I guess with AJ Styles being the person to challenge LA Knight.
Yeah, it's not what I expected at all. I am disappointed though. I've got to say, as much as I love AJ and I want to see him on a WrestleMania card, there's nothing in it for me. There's nothing that makes me go, "Oh, I really hope this happens." I don't care who wins that match. That's the problem here. I think LA Knight, the risk was if they didn't strap the rocket on him and put him towards the main title picture, that was a risk in him not winning the Rumble as well. But the backup was, winning the mid-card title, and it looks like he's not doing that anytime soon either. So,
one way around it they could be looking at is that they want to get a title change at Backlash in France.
Maybe, yeah.
As someone who's actually been to France a number of times, I'm aware that they really, really love a lot of these YouTubers. They obviously these YouTubers are popular everywhere, but I can see that being someone who. Would get eyes on that show. Yeah. So potentially they could do obviously Logan over at Mania against Kevin Owens, and then Logan losing to LA Knight.
That makes sense. Yeah.
At Backlash in France.
There we go. KO is gone. But I mean that's a good point.
He's really selling his back as well.
I think Drew's gonna target that, ain't he?
Yeah, I think especially with Randy being a kind of wrestler that we know here, he's not. These movements aren't being done for no reason. Everything Randy Orton does,
it's for part of the story.
It's a story. There's something behind it. And obviously, like people will say, oh, it could be a real injury or something, but I don't think, especially this WWE, that they'd kind of allow that to happen.
Done by now, wouldn't it?
But so we do have. Logan Paul in the final 3, believe it or not.
Mm.
I don't think he'll last much longer, though. I think it will be. They want to get back to this. Because again, this was during the pandemic era. Randy Orton did beat Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship.
Was that Hell in a Cell or something like that? Was it?
Hell in a Cell, yeah. He held it for like 2 weeks, didn't he? And then he dropped it back on Raw.
Yeah. That was so weird.
Randy Orton to date, last World Championship. They just mentioned it just now. 14 World Championships with Randy Orton. Then obviously they are forever flirting with the fact that anything Logan Paul does, it's like he's a rookie. Like he's had 5 or 6 matches. He's already now. Essentially, what you're spotlighting with this match is these are the top 3 male singles competitors you've got.
Yeah.
Whether you're not, what I mean, like
outside of the champion, yeah.
Yeah, outside the champion, and these are the top 3. Yeah, he's really going to this back. Do we see Logan Paul and Randy Orton? Do we see Logan Paul, in the final 2, maybe? He's outside.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe that gives him,
Here comes Logan.
He'll rub out of it.
Yeah, because Randy Orton eliminated Kevin Owens, didn't they? So
yeah.
Had elimination. So, I mean, he looks quite strong so far as well, Randy, hasn't he? He's done his DDT on the outside to Owens. He's hit an RKO. He's, he's done quite a lot. But I do actually think Drew needs to beat Orton to kind of legitimize this.
Yeah. He's a heel, he can't beat the cocky heel himself. He needs to beat the beloved legendary babyface, by kind of taking advantage of his injuries.
And what for Randy Orton at Mania though? Like we're assuming now that Drew McIntyre winning this and will obviously get a shot at Steph. Like, and then we're seeing that it seems that they are continuing the Kevin Owens and Logan Paul's going up to pod, it seems. It seems like they're setting up the Kevin Owens and Logan Paul feud. And then they're setting up the AJ Styles and LA Knight. Well, we've already got obviously Cody and Rock.
Lashley's got something going on already as well.
Yeah. Where do we insert Randy Orton?
I don't know where you fit him in.
You have to imagine that he'd want to be on the card. And
there we go, Logan from the top.
There we
go. Oof, bit of an awkward landing on Drew's head there.
I think it took some time for that to happen as well because it felt like it was a very long time.
Yeah,
the whole sequence. But yeah, here we go. We are down to like 3 of them. The referee's giving instructions of some sort. But yeah, they're all in the chamber. They're all down, which means obviously we're at a reset. Logan seems to be up first, which somewhat makes sense. I always got the brass knucks, isn't he?
There's a really awkward. It was showing on Randy earlier. There's a really awkward kind of spot in the chamber where the lights aren't on you.
Yeah.
There we go. Logan's a bit into it there, but yeah, as you say, got his brass knuckles.
I quite like this actually because I think I eat an RKO. Yeah.
That was great.
Laid the cover.
Come on, pin him.
Yeah, good.
There you go. Good.
Right, so we're down to I'd say the correct final 2.
Yeah.
A couple of hand gestures thrown at Logan there. I do love how literally there has to be a cameraman who needs to be literally just looking to try to not get that in shot. Definitely during Logan Paul, probably Dom Mysterio, and there's a handful of others really that get that kind of reception. Also credit for whoever's trying to do the sound editing recently at NXT actually, because I having to edit a lot of swearing out of any Carmelo Hayes segment at present, it seems.
They're kind of they're rocking the boat a little bit with that sort of stuff, deal. We saw at the press conference, didn't they? They allowed a lot of naughty words they didn't usually.
It's weird. It's like anytime the Rock or Stone Cold come back, it's like they forget they're a PG company. But
yeah,
it's just how much you kind of delve into that, though, isn't it? Like you can't risk too much of that, surely. Right, so we're down to Drew and Randy. I guess this is where they're going to tease loads of moves, aren't they? Yeah.
Attempt turned into an RKO attempt, turned into
DDT. Looking for
get
now.
that DDT from the rope. It's got to hold his back though, surely. Yeah. There we go.
They're playing out this whole his back really affecting him.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he goes after this if you don't win it.
I mean, unless that's just triple threat. I don't know. I don't see what else there is.
No story, is there? Yeah. So unless he inserts himself, like say, into like a pre-existing story, maybe with Logan Paul and Kevin Owens.
Because you got the whole eliminated him, didn't they?
Yeah, he just eliminated him, and they've been on.
Oh, he eliminated both. Didn't he? Actually, eliminated Owens as well, didn't he? So he could do the whole. Both. So why are you fighting for this belt? And he was previously United States champion, wasn't he? I think in 2018.
That wouldn't be a bad chat. Actually, I'd be up for that because I think it will give a fresh kind of element to again what was already quite a disappointing match at the Rumble. So,
but yeah, no, I mean, I can't think what else for Randy. I'm actually struggling, which is hard because we have to imagine Randy Orton being one of the main guys.
I think that's the best bet for him, to be honest.
What, to insert himself in the Owens?
Yeah, I think that makes most sense. Because
I guess it keeps
the LA Knight, then it's not important.
It's weird because obviously if they're going to go with AJ Styles against that's also SmackDown. Bailey and Neo SmackDown. Orton can't get up. Oh, but it's just like all a ruse. It's all like a ruse. Like he can't get up. Drew gets close, gets RKO'd.
Do you imagine if he goes to a Claymore, hits an RKO and wins? I'll be so shocked. I'll be so... that just doesn't make any sense, does it, though? Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton.
I don't know, but it's one of those that it's easy to make sense, though, isn't it? Because there's a lot of history there.
Yeah, but it's the whole babyface dynamic, though. That's the issue. Like Drew is a big-time heel at the moment, and that's what you need going up against Seth.
I think an RKO's come in.
See what I mean? It's a really weird spot where there's no light.
Yeah, I see it now.
On the Drew's chest.
Yeah, knew it.
Oh, there we go.
Oh yes, look, Logan Paul back.
Wow. He finally, interesting. So it looks like that's where we are going with this. Randy Orton's going to be involved. That was a great shot, by the way. I'm actually concerned for Randy Orton's face because that looked like it hurt. This is it. Go on, Drew.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Nice. I really like the way that went down there because it sets up exactly what we need. Drew is that kind of heel that will capitalize on the misery of a babyface, as we've seen with the CM Punk situation. It sets Randy Orton up with Logan Paul. Logan Paul is annoyed, as you can imagine, and takes it out on Randy. So it kind of makes a lot of sense.
But wow, there we have it. We have Drew McIntyre as the men's chamber winner for 2024. And Seth Rollins' opponent at WrestleMania night to be determined at WrestleMania 40. Just like that. And it seems that, yes, there is now this kind of interweaving of the Logan Paul, Kevin Owens feud now involving Randy Orton. And that LA Knight seems to have a new opponent, new not previously announced opponent, not previously not announced, but previously kind of rumored opponent, WrestleMania, that being one AJ Styles. And I guess they might play in and factor in this back injury of Orton, going into a potential WrestleMania match.
What a shot that, though.
Yeah, it was quite a shot. Randy Orton really sold that really well. But right, I mean, I'll leave my final thoughts for the main event. Obviously, my prediction was Rhea Ripley to retain. I imagine there'll be some sort of long entrance and that kind of thing that will happen. I don't really imagine anything kind of surprising happen in that. I don't see it. I think we spoke about it as well before. I think it would just be 10-minute entrance, 10-minute match, and then Rhea wins.
Strange, isn't it, to not end on the chamber? But
yeah, that was a banging match as well.
Yeah,
that's a really, really good match. I think actually both chambers actually have been very good.
Yeah.
And although I wasn't a massive fan of the tag match, it did an okay job. It ticked a box. Would like to see maybe a singles match though, because they haven't had a date yet for that match. I think the graphic has come up to confirm. The graphic has come up for Seth freaking Rollins against Drew McIntyre for the World Championship at WrestleMania 40. They haven't put the night or the date. They've just put obviously the days: Saturday 6th of April and Sunday 7th of April. So they haven't.
Like he keeps getting the ref to raise his hand.
He wants to get his hand raised again, and I guess they go into the next round of adverts within 5 seconds or so. But yeah, there we have it. So we do have another match confirmed. WrestleMania 40 was one we.
Yeah, it's all starting to come together now.
We have 3 matches now, don't we? We also have Becky Lynch against.
Yep.
Well, we don't actually technically. Becky Lynch gets the winner of the next match.
Oh yeah. Wink.
But right, I'm gonna love you and leave you.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. Thanks for joining me.
Of Chamber. See you, everyone.
Brilliant, mate. See you later. All right, yeah. Thanks once again to Lucas for joining us on the stream. And thank you to everyone else that's joining us in general, whether you're watching live or on demand. We do appreciate you. Let us know what you think of the show so far, though. It's been, in my opinion, a really good one. Looks like we're probably going to be wrapping up within the next half an hour. I don't see this match being too long. But yeah, still a strange decision, right, for the main event. Other than the fact that she's from Australia, it doesn't feel like a main event match. But let's hope we get something exciting. Let's hope we end on a kind of iconic shot, which I think is going to be Becky and Rhea face to face. But we'll see how we go with that. Once again, thank you to everyone that's joining us. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. We don't often do watch-alongs, but we've got a few kind of classic PLE watch-alongs in our archives as well. But our main content will be predictions, previews, and recap and reviews of all the latest going-ons within the wrestling world. Seeing ads now for WrestleMania. We'll be going strong with WrestleMania content, as you can imagine. And again, we encourage you to subscribe and stick along with us on that journey to WrestleMania. It's going to be an exciting one. Any kind of breaking news, we'll try and cover that on this channel as always as well. And we've also got interviews with WWE superstars from over the years as well, including the woman we are about to see in the main event in Rhea Ripley. So if you haven't already, check out our interview with Rhea Ripley. Where we talk about her getting into alternative music, scaring people, and creating memes. We've also got, as I say, many kind of classic watch-alongs on this channel, from Survivor Series 2002 to Royal Rumble 2013, just to kind of bring it up to speeds with, of course, The Rock at the moment. Also, interviews on this channel with the likes of LA Knight and the forgotten Rumble winner, it would seem, in Bailey as well. We were talking about a potential breakup of Damage Control, and she was adamant it wasn't happening. But I think a few of us sort of writing on her wall, it eventually did. But check out those if you haven't already. And again, remember to subscribe and press that bell for notifications as well. So again, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania is starting to shape up now. We've got the graphic for Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Still don't know what's going to happen with The Rock officially. Of course, earlier on in the night, Cody does make the challenge for a one-on-one match. Quite surprising. And Seth basically says, look, I've got your back either way. So it probably is going to be the tag match, but it'd be interesting to see if that is not the case. Does feel like a bit of a risk, though, don't it, guys, to put Seth in a match, having come back from injury the day before, you would imagine. He has a title match against Drew McIntyre. So Be interesting to see what approach WWE take there. Oh, we've got Triple H coming out. This is interesting. This guy is loving it. See that guy had a Triple H sign? It was time of his life. Does feel weird to play his music and he's already in the ring, and for it to be the game rather than King of Kings, which you generally, I feel, get when he's in the role of, you know, top guy. I imagine this is just to announce the attendance or something like that and big up Australia. So let's see. There we go, attendance. 52,000. Not bad going. Of course, when we saw Cardiff, I think it was about 44 or something like that. Let's see what Optus Stadium's capacity is. No, it's not about, you don't have to sell it out, don't get me wrong. The capacity is 61,000 rectangular and 70,000 for a concert. So you'd imagine they could have, 65 for that, sorry. Yeah, you'd imagine they could have probably got about 65. That must have been the aim, I would imagine. But still, good going, as we say. Not a bad number. And either way, still, again, so great to have these international PLEs. And it's not necessarily about selling out, but the fact you can get over 50,000 to a non-US stadium show is incredible. Now, again, it's all about Rhea Ripley, really, this, right? It's all about her kind of being on this big stage and being the focal point for the PLE. And again, rightly so. Not only is it because, great because she happens to be Australian there in Australia, but she is someone that's been on the rise in the past few years in an incredible way. Really deserving of this spot. And she's pretty much a babyface as well. That's what's interesting about Rhea. Even when she's in kind of, Judgment Day, healing it up, people just like her. You know what I mean? So now I don't see Nia winning, but I do think she's done very well since she's come back. Yeah, it'd be a huge shock if Nia won and we had Nia versus Becky at WrestleMania. So, I mean, even with this, Nia Jax is a heel. Rhea is supposed to be, but she's clearly the babyface. That's probably the best way to kind of take this. Even we saw earlier on, of course, with Grayson Waller kind of not really, getting involved with the situation with Austin Theory and kind of soaking up the Australian fans. has been a dominant run that Rhea's been on since, of course, winning the Rumble last year, winning the title as well. It has felt like the title's been a bit of an afterthought at times, though. We've got to be honest. I know that Lucas is in agreement with that, especially in the early part of her run, because it felt like the reason why she was cool, the reason why she was exciting, was nothing to do with the women's division. It was all about her work with Dom and the Judgment Day. So I do think that's changed in kind of the last few months. They've really started to put more of a focus on her as a wrestler in the women's division. So it's kind of given a bit of strength to this current reign that she's on. But yeah, I feel like it's got to continue. Be interesting to see what happens at WrestleMania, though. Again, I'm assuming here, but let's say it is her and Becky. It'd be interesting to see whether or not Becky actually takes the title away from her. Don't forget, guys, we are going to be back straight after the watch along with another stream where I'm going to kind of hit you with my instant reaction review for the PLE. So if you haven't already, again, please subscribe and get yourself lined up for that stream, because we'll be coming straight back on the air and again, kind of giving our instant thoughts on everything we've seen here at Elimination Chamber. But thank you to everyone that has joined us. For those that joined us earlier on the build-up show, again, we always do those before PLEs to kind of get ourselves and yourselves in the mood. And yeah, it was good fun. And then we've hit you as well with another stream here on the watch along, and we do appreciate everyone that's joined us for that as well. Undefeated in singles competition since returning in September. A little graphic popped up there, as Lucas said earlier on. Seems like we're kind of, having this different style of presentation at the moment, making things seem a little bit more legitimate as a sport. That kind of sports style presentation. Big fan of it myself, so that's nice to see. Wow, she hasn't had a singles title in nearly 6 years, says Michael Cole. I think any other time in the calendar, this would be believable. I could see Nia winning the title, especially when there's two of them. But just not today. All right, here we go. Public awaits. Let's see what the reaction is to Rhea Ripley's entrance. I'm sure it's going to be very loud. All the camera phones ready. Good initial reaction. It must feel so cool for her. Like, what a moment. Wow. What a star. Again, she's been so kind of well positioned the past few years anyway, and deservingly of that position. But I don't think in her wildest dreams she could have ever expected to headline a PLE in Australia. So, quite a incredible feat. She's got the Australian flag painted onto the back of her jacket as well. Very cool. And again, well deserved. You know, someone that is at the top of her game, a real kind of fantastic performer, a star, and you know, a great person. You know, again, I've had the privilege of interviewing Rhea, and she's very, very kind. And I know the character doesn't depict that at the moment, but she's a lovely woman. And again, a moment like this, very well deserved. Screaming there. I do wonder if instead of the one-on-one with Becky, we might get some sort of Judgment Day celebration instead. Because as I said in the kind of build-up show and our predictions, I do feel like this is kind of an opportunity to make this the Judgment Day PLE. They haven't really gone down that route, other than having, you know, their representative in the main event. You had the tag title match earlier, of course, where they retain. But I did expect to see more Judgment Day in this show. Now, Rhea's, you know, she's been in front of big crowds before, but this is, it's got to be, nearly gets in the way of the announcer now. Yeah, it's got to be such a special moment. All right, so we're 12 minutes past 1 here in the UK. I imagine this is going to start wrapping up by about 1:30. Strange again to be watching this at a reasonable time. Going to the Arsenal game later on, so it feels weird to be saying that during watching a PLE. Oh, again, what a great moment. Now, me and Lucas were saying, you know, it doesn't feel like a main event match. A main event introduction. Great moment. But I really hope this match can deliver. Wow. First time performing in Australia in 7 years. That is crazy. How have they not done house shows? That doesn't seem true. Like, have they just not done house shows? Has she not been on them or what? Unless they just mean on TV. I mean, that's not what he said, but that could be what they mean. Right, so Rhea getting the early kind of control. Ooh, shock. Bit of a great from Rhea's part there. Held on to Nia, does the run up to the ropes and hits the Hurricane Runner, but not a great reaction from Nia. Kind of ruined that. She barely moved. Again, I know it's kind of cool to hate on Nia. I personally think she's improved quite a bit, and I think there's a place for her on this roster. I do enjoy some of her work, but I can't be honest, though, that was awful. It just felt lazy. Nia's in control now. Bit of a stink face going on from Nia. Rhea's fighting back. So it's all Nia Jax now. Yeah, so they just mentioned in commentary, Charlotte Flair lost the title to Rhea Ripley. You have to wonder what would have been her plans for WrestleMania if she wasn't injured. It's starting to feel like a stacked division, isn't it? You know, that chamber, as we said earlier on, was great. It had so many people in it that were believable as kind of title contenders. Maybe not so much in storyline at the moment, but of course on paper at least. And then we've got Bianca, maybe going to go off and face Jade Cargill. But then you've got the dilemma of the whole streak that she's been talking about. Do we get rid of that early on? I say early, it's still a few years in, but it's not quite Undertaker levels is what I mean. So do you take that and run with it? But if she is facing Jade Cargill, that's probably not a good look for her to be losing in a kind of one-on-one debut. So once again, stay tuned because after this show, we are going to be hitting you with the instant reaction review as well. Thank you to everyone that's joined us today, whether it be just on the watch along or if you've been with us all the way through since the build up. We hope you stick with us for the instant reaction. So slowing the match down now with Nia Jax. Rhea's taking over though. So you'd imagine Rhea's going to pick up some steam in a moment. Chanting in my hole. From Nia landed on her butt. Of course, the classic moment where she screamed "my hole" from landing on the butt on the side of the apron. They tried to turn that into a bit of a story, didn't they? They kind of played around with it for a bit. That was in their previous run with the company. Oh, so Nia catches Rhea, but then nearly drops her. But they've got a good grip on it now. Double power bomb. Yeah, you don't usually see Rhea in kind of positions like this again because of the way she's presented. The other girl, she's usually one kind of manhandling them, woman handling them, throwing them around. You don't usually see it done to Rhea, but we're seeing that here, of course, with Nia being a bigger wrestler, and they're using that as part of the story in this match. Oh, drop kick from Rhea. Nia's now caught up on the ropes. Drop kick. It definitely feels like a different style in this match, don't it, for Rhea? Again, I guess that's because of facing someone that is of a different build to the people she usually faces. I guess it lends itself into that kind of babyface kind of portrayal she's getting for this show as well. It is odd to see like Rhea not be dominant though. So you could only really do this with, Nia probably is the perfect person for this match, for the position that you want Rhea to be in, pretty much temporarily playing a babyface in a home country. Rhea now on the top rope. Nia having none of it though. Oof. Samoan drop from the top rope. No, only a 2. Michael Cole hypes it up, but it was never going to be the end of the match. Yeah, the commentary team again talking about basically how Rhea is being demanded, kind of. Oh, trying to get back control here though. They mentioned, Rhea being kind of controlled, and the last time was against Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania last year. I do feel like Charlotte's the only other person you could have really put in this role because the kind of come on Australia, it says legacy aspect. You got this kind of multi-time world champion seen as the kind of, I guess, in some ways the face of the women's division. So this could have been seen as a bit of an underdog story, even of the changing of the guard. Frog splash there, little tribute to Eddie Guerrero as well. I was wondering what the link was there, but then I guess Dominic. A bit more like a lowdown, D'Lo Brown type frog splash. So yeah, they're playing up to Rhea not being able to get the Riptide in because of the size of Nia. I do wonder then if that is the kind of big spot that we go for, that they're building towards. Yeah, awkward landing there for Nia Jax. Rhea's now ripping apart the announce table though. But I guess, there needs to be something in this match to make it stand out, right? It can't just be the hometown person, home country person getting the big moment because it feels like a house show if that's the case. So Rhea's trying to lift Nia. Nia lifts her instead. Oh, Samoan drop onto the announce table and it doesn't break. Looks like she's going to jump off the chair. That's a risky move, Nia. Those chairs move. Oi! Dives off the chair onto Rhea and through the table. Nice little spot there. Nice little bit of improvising from Nia Jax. Back in the ring though. Nia on the top rope. 2. Rhea kicks out. I think the problem with Nia is she's quite slow on selling. Like, the point of that was that Rhea somehow pushed her off, but when she slowly gets off, it doesn't look that way. Same as earlier on with that Hurricane Run, it just didn't look like that. Like, she's meant to be diving into the corner there. It just looks like she was lifted up a bit and then she threw herself. Obviously, we all know what this is. You know, it's performance art, but still, it makes it feel a little less legitimate when you see things like that. So Nia's back in control. It is now 1:26 here in the UK. So, again, I'd imagine this is going to be ended in the next kind of 5 or so minutes. As Rhea throws Nia outside of the ring, off of the top rope. Okay, lifting Nia up from the outside, but Nia pushes her off. Rhea tries again, but gets the headbutt. Rhea now trying to go for the superplex again. Hits it. It's got to be it now. You've got to have a bit of quick offense. Lovely wide shot there of the stadium. Kick to the face. Can we do the riptide? Ooh, she does it. That's it. 1, 2, 3. It is over. Shoves her face down at the end of it as well. Nice showing. Good match. You know, I'll say that. It was a good match. Again, placement on the card has been something we've been touching on all night, but it was enjoyable. Didn't feel like a main event. But it's all about this, really, isn't it? Rhea Ripley looking strong in Australia. Do we get something with Becky Lynch, though? Just going through the replays here. Superplex and then the riptide to finish things. Nice seeing her family celebrate like that. What a moment, though. It's so cool. I mean, that's exactly what his peeling needed to be, really, wasn't it? It was get the best out of someone like Rhea Ripley. I'm surprised there wasn't as much of a Judgment Day spin on it. And, you know, the card, again, does seem to have been affected by things going on in WWE in recent months. But still, overall, pretty good show. I'm going to give my thoughts in a bit more detail very soon when we come back, though, for the next live stream, which will be our instant reaction review. So again, if you haven't already, guys, line that stream up. I'll be joining you in a moment over there. And please make sure, if you haven't already, that you do subscribe as well. Final shots now of the stadium. And the fireworks going off. No Becky Lynch, it seems. But maybe that would have taken away from the moment for Rhea. So maybe this is the right call. We know what's going on. We know it's Becky. So maybe we don't need that. Nice moment there of Rhea and her family. There we go. That's the end of the show, guys. We are about to fade to black. We'll make sure, because you never know what's going to go on the WWE these days, especially when we had Punk arrive after the copyright graphic. But again, lovely moment there for Rhea Ripley. Looking like an absolute star, as she is in the middle of the ring in her home country. All right, we're now into the recap video, which just reminds me again, Kevin Owens arrived with Koala Bear. What a show. We've had everything. Yeah, really good show. I really did enjoy that overall. Again, I'm going to get into my thoughts in a bit more detail very, very soon when we come back for the instant reaction review. But I want to say thank you very much to everyone that's joined us so far on the build-up show and, of course, here on the watch-along. We hope you stick with us for the instant reaction review. Thank you so much to Lucas for joining me earlier on. And, again, anyone that's watched any of these streams live or on demand, we really do appreciate it. Yeah. Let us know in the comments what you think of the show overall. And again, please join me over on the instant reaction review on this very channel, the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel, where I'll be dissecting the show as a whole. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you on the next stream very soon.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.